We're proud to bring you this live presentation on Racer TV of the 50th anniversary of the Progressive Grand National Cross Country Series, presented by Specialized, an AMA National Championship. 50 years of world premier off-road racing. 50 years of battling the gnarliest woods racing on the planet. It's time to start a new chapter. The next 50 years starts now.
St. Clairsville, Ohio, for the Powerline Park GNCC. We came here for many, many years in the past. We made our return in 2024, and we're back for more in the 50th season of GNCC. And it is Bryson Neal who comes in red hot to start the season. Can he keep the ball rolling? Will Josh Merritt return to the center of the box for his second win in 2 years at Powerline Park? It all starts right here, right now, on Racer TV. Johnny, we're here, round number 6. We are certainly into the meat of the 2025 season at this point. And, hey, just a few weeks ago, coming off another Bryson Neal victory. And this season, it's not over by any means, not over till it's over and we crown a champion. But this is definitely in the hands of Bryson Neal right now. He is the man to beat.
No question, with 4 straight wins. I mean, he's taken this season by storm. Yeah. He's really taken control of it in these last few rounds. I mean, obviously Walker Fowler starting off the season with a win. Looked like we might have a battle, and then it's been the Bryson Neal show since then. But there was a little bit of hope at the end of that last round for everyone else. You know, if you're Bryson Neal, you want to just keep clicking off these wins, and he's doing a great job of it right now. But Walker Fowler, John Glauda, Josh Merritt, all those guys were right up in the mix there coming to the end of that race. And ultimately, it was lappers that kind of came to play, and when it came right down to it, Bryson Neal able to grab the win. Walker Fowler second, John Glauda Jr. third, and it's starting to beg the question: can anyone stop Bryson Neal?
That's exactly it, and you got to expect and know on a normal race, Bryson Neal, we know is going to be hungry, we know he's going to want to win. He's also got a baby on the way with his wife, and there is that kind of lingering, hey, he may have to miss a race if that happens. So you have that added element of Bryson Neal is going to be a very, very focused man today.
Yeah, absolutely. He's going to want to grab the win here today, but some very interesting race conditions coming into today.
Very true.
We know anytime we come to Ohio, the weather always in question. We're just going to keep watching the radar. We're going to see what we're up against today. But we really ran into a similar situation last year as we came rolling in here. It's Ohio, it's the spring, and the challenging course here along with the conditions can really provide some serious racing action.
That's exactly right. And going back to last year, a man got his very first career win. That was Josh Merritt, an Ohio native, which you can't really look past too many guys in the XC1 class, yourself included, hailing from Ohio. And it just was a day that it clicked for him. It clicked for Wyatt Wilkin as well until it didn't. It just kind of, I wouldn't say slip away from him. Merritt had a great day.
Yeah, when it came right down to it, I mean, these are two guys that throughout the early parts of 2024 were kind of trying to establish themselves as podium contenders. On this day 1 year ago, they established themselves as the men to beat that day. They were able to get out front, pull away, and battle each other right down to the finish line, ultimately separated by just a few inches at the finish line, with Josh grabbing the win, Wyatt second, and a great day for those two, and setting them up ultimately later in the season to end up number 3 and 4 behind Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler in that championship chase. And there's going to be some good memories for both of those guys coming into today, and probably going to be looking to repeat the performance.
Yeah, and they honestly, both of those guys, they've had some ups and some downs this year, and what better way to kind of get things turned around in the right direction anyways than to come back where, hey, if you're Josh Merritt, you won here. If you're Wyatt Wilkin, you got a podium here, and you won later that year, so or earlier that year, excuse me. So the stage is set for those guys. They got to feel good about returning here.
Can't say enough about what a big day it was for Wyatt Wilkin as well 1 year ago, coming in with just a phenomenal performance, finishing the day in second. And he's going to be going out there today looking for a little bit more, maybe to notch his second career win, but we got a chance to catch up with Wyatt before today's racing action.
So going into last year, me and Josh, dude, I just rewatched the Racer TV. I forgot how many times I was in the lead and how many times we swapped and whatnot, and it kind of gave me it showed me what it felt like to lead and to be in that pressure, and I learned a lot from it. Looking back, there's some things I wish I could change, but let's change it this weekend and win this sucker.
Well, great to hear from Wyatt Wilken. Always an entertaining interview with him, and certainly has that potential today to maybe take a win. But, hey, you've heard enough from me and Johnny doing the bench racing. You've got to hear some pro rider perspectives coming into today. We want to see what this Powerline Park GNCC is all about, and for that, we're going to throw it to Jackson Burrell, who stands by with Jared Bolton for a Yamaha track description.
All right, thanks, guys. I'm down here with our trail boss, Jared Bolton. Jared, we're back here in Ohio. Ohio is known for its dirt, for its mud. What do you expect here this weekend?
Well, we're going to keep our fingers crossed that these sprinkles stay away from us and might get into some of that dry dirt. You know, the thing about Powerline Park is this Ohio clay is incredibly slick when it's wet. It gets hard packed when it's dry, and it's actually pretty good at times. But, you know, this track got a little bit of something for everybody. I know I say that like every race. But you got the fast stuff, you got some tighter stuff, you got some grass track, but it's all that Ohio clay everywhere around it.
All right, guys, there you go. Back up to you.
Thanks so much, Jackson and Jared, for that Yamaha Racing track description. Now we've seen what these guys are going to face out there today. We know the conditions are going to be interesting. We know we're going to have some wheel-to-wheel racing action. We're going to let our man Mikey Waynes head down, do some 10-second calls to get the action underway. And we're going to bring you all of the action live on Racer TV.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Let's take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVMC.com. Get ready.
To operate your machine in a safe manner, maintaining control at all times. Extreme caution is required when approaching areas with a high concentration of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Fans. Due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the race course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers. Use extreme caution when crossing the race course. And remember, stay off the racetrack. For the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited and will be confiscated. Finally, unauthorized pit vehicles are prohibited and may be confiscated. Motorcycles, minicycles, and electric mountain bicycles with a throttle are prohibited. Absolutely no pit vehicles permitted in the woods or on the racetrack. Crew members are prohibited from using pit vehicles during the race. Thank you for your cooperation. Have fun and race safe.
Oh, thank you for that voice of Griff Cotter. And we want to welcome everybody watching at home on RacerTV.com. We got ourselves a mutter. And as you tune in here to Racer TV, if you're here on property with us, we want to ask for your undivided attention with those machines shut off, as we'll now turn the microphone over to Mr. Ricky Towery to lead us in a word of prayer. Ricky?
Thank you, Mikey. Hey, let's go to the Lord this afternoon. Let's have a word of prayer together. Heavenly Father, once again, we want to thank you for bringing us all together safely. Lord, the rain's falling. We just ask you to keep these riders safe this afternoon. Let them go out there and have a good time together. We do thank you for the landowner for letting us use this property to have some fun on. Continue to bless that family. And our military men and women, do watch over them each and every day. Keep them safe. And our leaders, make sure they make the right decisions for our country at the high level and the local level. And our local policemen, firemen, and paramedics, be with them every day in all our communities across the United States. Lord, the rain's falling. It's going to be muddy out there. It don't matter what the conditions are, Lord. You always let us have fun. And we thank you for that. Later on today and tomorrow, we're going to start heading down the road home. We ask you to take us all home safely so that one day we can get back like this together again and have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you for that, Ricky. And now Ricky Towery will begin to make his way to turn number one. Ricky's, we got you. I don't know if the TV, Racer TV does it quite justice, but this is almost a pro motocross style start with the uphill. So Ricky's going to jump on the ATV. We'll give him 1 second to get up there. Just a reminder for the folks out here with us, we've got Stasic Racing tonight here at the finish line. So now that Ricky's just about up there. Yeah, and again, want to welcome you guys watching at home on Racer TV. Got ourselves a nice little mutter. By the way, if you're in the XC2 class, you guys are going to lead us by example. If you want to hop off those machines, step forward onto that XC1 line. You're welcome to bring your friend with you that's got an umbrella. I promise. You guys are welcome on that line, too. And you guys are going to lead us by example as Ricky is stationed and ready. And now for the rest of us, or all of us, please remove your hats, cross your hearts, as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
All right, all right. We are about ready to set it off now at the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. But first, we want to introduce our starting row for the XC1 Pro class. All right, well, we got some time. We're still waiting on some pro riders to show up. There's Grayson Heller making his way. So we got a few minutes yet before we jump into it. What are you going to do? We'll give it a minute. While we wait for everybody to show up, we're live on Racer TV. Let's see if I can fall in the mud. Ugh. We can't hear anything over here, but that's okay. They're still on their way. We're going to talk with you guys. I know how much you guys love when I shove a mic in your face right before you're about to go to the line. Here with Jay Shadron, man. Jay, how you feeling today, buddy?
Mixed emotions. Kind of excited. Nervous, you know, all that. It's going to be anyone's game, and it's going to be a survival day and keep moving forward pretty much.
Ohio, the rain, the mud, you've had a few slip away from you this year. From your perspective, I think in ours as well, man, is today the day you get that turned around?
We're hoping so, man. It's tough to say on a day like today. You never know what to expect, but we're going to see what we can do, try to put ourselves in a position at the end.
All right, brother Jay, I'm going to let you get back to it. Thank you, thank you. We got B. Neal. We're getting close to getting everybody down here. I think we're still missing Walker Fowler. Let's talk to this man right here, Josh Merritt. Josh, a first place here last year. It was your first ever career win on this property exactly a year ago, man. I know that's been in your head coming into today.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've been posting the last 3 weeks just memories of this race, and, you know, I'm looking forward to going out and similar conditions and battle with the boys. It's going to be a great day and some awesome times. I know that.
Hey, brother, go make it a carbon copy of last year.
Let's do it.
All right, man. I'm gonna let you get dialed. Are we just about ready? I got Hunter Hart. We're still waiting on Walker Fowler, I think. Not no more. Nope, that's the number 5 machine. We'll keep talking. Why not? Wyatt Wilkin. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good. I'm ready to roll. I prayed for the rain, and my God, it showed up.
It did, man. So let's talk real quick. Last year, we come into it. You had an opportunity. You still had an amazing race. Do you not let one slip away from you, steal that win today?
I learned a lot. Went back through and watched the Racer TV, see what I could do a little bit different. Hopefully, we'll put it to work this weekend.
All right, Wyatt, I'm going to let you get dialed, man. Thank you. There's Wyatt Wilkin, a couple of guys that had some sensational rides here just a year ago. And my man here, John Glotta Jr., you are not scared of the rain, dude.
No, I am definitely not scared of it.
Now your umbrella girl helps you out, Levi Cohen there. Dude, let's talk. We got a little bit of time yet. Lot of hype about John Glotta Jr. heading into the season. It took you a little bit to get going, but these last 2 races, you've been sensational, man. What's been the difference maker for you?
You know, I felt pretty good for a while, and knew I could still do it. Just minimizing like stupid mistakes, and that was really the biggest thing. And doing it once, and then once you do it again, prove to yourself you can still do it. So really just mindset and just not doing dumb stuff, and just, I guess maybe it's a little bit maturity, getting a little bit older, not being as young and dumb as I used to be.
Hey, it happens. It's part of the learning curve. I think we got everybody. Jeremy Holbert, are we dialed? All right, one last thing. John Glotta, you're my last interview, man. We're going to talk to you center of the box after the race.
We'll see. That's the plan.
That's the plan. All right, brother, go get it. Go have some fun. All right, Jeremy, you ready? You got them all? All right, let's do it. Without further ado, and again, Don Hampton, I still don't know what further ado means. I think it means without anything left to do. Let's do this. Introducing your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class, riding to the line in accordance to points. Rolling to the line first, the number 1. Out of Bidwell, Ohio, on the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, Ohio's own, the Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. Up next, the number 2, out of Rogers, Ohio, aboard the WFR Kenda and Fly Racing back to Yamaha, Walker Fowler. Up next, the 712, out of Waxhaw, North Carolina, aboard the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, John Glotta Jr. The number 6, out of Newfield, New York, on an HHR Fly Racing and Quad Tech backed Yamaha, Hunter Hart. The number 5, out of Elk Ridge, Maryland, aboard the B&R Motorsports Kenda and Fearless backed Yamaha, Stephen Harrell. The number 4, out of Akron, Ohio, aboard the B&R Motorsports and Merritt Racing backed Yamaha, your winner here last year, Josh Merritt. Up next, the number 3, out of Hillsboro, Ohio, aboard the SBR, GBC, and Pierce Performance backed Yamaha, Wyatt Wilkin. The number 18, out of Acme, Pennsylvania, on the Action Off-Road Kenda and Custom Access backed Yamaha, Jay Shadron. The 703, out of Petersburg, Indiana, on the Action Off-Road and Maxxis backed Yamaha, Austin Abney. The number 10, out of Sunbury, Pennsylvania, on the Action Off-Road, Amsoil, and CB Racing backed Yamaha, Chris Borich. The 246, out of Walker, West by God, Virginia, on the Sturdy Vant Racing and Maxxis backed Yamaha, Brandon Owens. The 171, out of Salisbury, North Carolina, on the Phoenix Racing Yamaha, Grayson Eller. The 521, there he is, out of Waverly, West by God, Virginia, on the Obermoose Racing backed Honda, the Gator Adam McGill. The 714, out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on the Bulletproof Doors backed Yamaha, Ronnie Rush. And last but not least, our man, the Sneaky Snake, the Cobra, Jared McClure, riding on the Honda. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your starting row for the XC1 Pro Class here at the Kenda Tires, Powerline Park, GNCC, as DJ Judd exits the mobile entertainment activation transport, jumps into the Yamaha R Max 1000, throws on the sparkle helmet, the gold sparkle helmet, might I add. And this is where we like to say, DJ Judd, remove the meat. As DJ Judd makes his way off of the starting line, all eyes will fixate high in turn number 1 on the outside line where the maestro, Ricky Towery, will take the reins of this race. And we go as Ricky goes. And we got a thumbs up and a ready to race as Ricky Towery now lets our riders know 1 minute. 1 minute. Until we're ready to go, Kenda Tires, Powerline Park, GNCC Racing. As Ricky now looks down at his watch, keeps an eye on the time, a big deep breath. And there it is, blue flag waves, blue flag waves. Shut them down, shut them down, shut them down. As we are just about ready to roll now. Shut them down. There you go. And I gotta ask you, St. Clairsville, Ohio, are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Oh, that's pretty good, but 50 years of GNCC, it is you who is braving the rain. You gotta get loud and proud. I'm gonna ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds for row number 1, the XC1 Pro. Bang, and they're off. Josh Merritt out in front, or is it going to be Wyatt Wilkin? No, it will be the number 4 of Josh Merritt on that B&R Motorsports back ride as we reset the deck with the XC2 class. B&R Motorsports Whole Shot Award up for grabs. Keaton Henderson, Dalton Keys, Andrew Badofsky, Andre Williams, Braxton Gross, Elijah Edmondson, 10 seconds. Kenny Schick, Alex Tiemann, Alex Elioff, Jeremiah Wolf, Chase Allison, Michael McAvoy, Dylan Walraven, Chance Hickey, Logan Steele, Brady Myers. No doubt about this. That is going to be the 2-2-3 of Braxton Gross. And that could be bad news for the rest of the XC2 class. Braxton Gross with a strong start in this one. College A, 16-19. Row number 3. Ready to roll. 10 seconds. Talon Stout, Cameron Mulholland, Jackson Carroll, Dylan Trigg, Isaac Hart, Trevor Meadows, Ryan Wilhelm, Caden Lambruno, Gavin Mann, Evan Osborne, Alec Bayless, Sawyer Bolin, Triple Exo, Nick Daring. Holy smokes! That is going to be the 285. That was absolutely insane. Caden Lambruno is the man that is going to grab that whole shot. And there's still carnage in the second turn. We knew this start would be wild, but that is something else. As we reset the deck, 10 seconds. Junior A, 20 plus. David Machisco, Connor Brandt, Ryan Hendershot, Josh Genoble, 0-3-7 on the whole shot. That's going to be Connor Brandt on cue right there. And man, we are going backwards down the second turn. It is slicker than a mayonnaise sandwich. This is something else. Wait on the signal from Ricky. There it is. 10 seconds. And looked like 048 maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure. That was A 28 plus. And now we reset with your Senior A 40+. We're on a hold. Got a thumbs up. There it is. 10 seconds. Dirk Becerrisi, Papa P, Jeff Pickens, Sean Slattery, Zachary Phillips, Chris Conklin, and the Marlboro man, Todd Muscala. 3:03, that is Jeff Pickens out in front, smooth, controlled, and he'll take the whole shot under fire by Chris Conklin, the 719. Seconds. Junior B, 19+, Hunter Griffith, Tyler Hinderleiter, Cole Mitchell, Sam Coons, Ethan Smith, Evan Young, Colton Dooley, Zach Schilling, Austin Turner, Ian Burns. Whole shot, the 801 machine as they slip slide into the second turn and just try to maintain control. That 10 seconds. I don't know how to tell you this, but go slow into that second turn. LOL. That's the 607 right there. Landon Ostrich grabbing that whole shot and early lead. And my paperwork looks like my homework from middle school when I'd lie to my teacher and say my dog ate it. No dog, just the reins of Ohio. 10 seconds. And the 608, that is going to be Chad Wallace. That was Senior B, 40+. Aaron Delancey, Jason Noble, Richard Bolin. Seconds. That's Vet B, 28+, Tanner Davisic, Zachary DeNoble. That's the 6:44 of Tyler Miller, grabbing that whole shot and early lead right there. And that's it. It's still carnage in turn number 2. Folks, if you are watching at home on Racer TV, don't turn your dial. You're going to want to watch this one. This is one of those anything can happen races. An absolute mutter, an insane start. Josh Merritt grabbing a whole shot in the XC1. How's it all going to play out? We're going to take a short commercial break, get in a word from our sponsors, and be back with more from the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC right after this.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? I don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach. Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call it a night. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the 50th Annual Progressive Insurance Grand National Cross Country Racing Series. This is Round 6, the 2025 Kenda Powerline Park GNCC. My name is Jackson Burrow. I'm going to be alongside Zach Herron and Johnny G to bring you today's action. Of course, Mikey Waynes as well. Boys, it's a rainy day here in Ohio.
Man, I think if you look at the forecast and the week leading up to and the week after, you knew it was going to be a wet one, but man, it never ceases to amaze how brutal these conditions can get at GNCC. Johnny, you were walking in the trailer a minute ago, wringing out the jacket. It is absolutely destroyed. Mikey Wayne's got what's left of his announcer sheets. It's all going away in a hurry, and the race has just begun.
Guys, we alluded to it in the openers. I mean, interesting weather conditions on an already dynamic and challenging track, and it's only going to get more exciting from here. It's almost like Mother Nature just waited for this race to get underway. We obviously had some rain Thursday evening, but it's just getting harder and harder, and as you can see right here, the rain was coming down, Zach, when these boys were going to the line.
So we take a look at our Specialized start recap. Not a ton to view here for XA1 Pro because Mother Nature actually took out one of our cameras right at the start. We've got them barreling into turn 1. Josh Merritt up the inside. Meanwhile, Bryson Neal as far outside as you could possibly get. So kind of got a backhand view here, but chaos in turn 2 was the theme all weekend long. But Josh Merritt and then Bryson Neal quickly moving into the front. It never ceases to amaze us what the guy's capable of doing. But the start for Braxton Gross here, I wish we had a side angle of that. He was so far lean back in your XC2 Pro-Am class. I've never seen back-end traction like that. Front wheels off the ground ever so slightly, and he checked up there in turn 2, grabbing the whole shot. That could be bad news for your XC2 class.
Absolutely. Braxton, a little nervous coming into today. Wasn't sure. He's a West Coast boy. As we jump ahead, Josh Merritt still out front. It is the number 1 of Bryson Neal in second, followed by his teammate there, John Glaude in third. Then it's Wyatt Wilkin, Jared McClure, Brandon Owens, Stephen Harrell. There is Jay Shadron. There is Chris Borich, Walker Fowler, Hunter Hart. And look at this, the XC2 guys already starting to catch up. There is Adam McGill bringing up I won't say the rear, but the last of our XC1 riders coming through. And actually, that was not Braxton Gross. But when they came by, Braxton Gross was nearly to the rear of that XC1 class already after about a mile of racing. And here you can see out front still, it is the 223 machine of Braxton Gross, rider out of California. Again, pointing out, he was pretty nervous before the start of this one. Looks like we may have a new leader. Is that Bryson Neal out front? I did not see Josh Merritt there. I wonder if we missed him in that camera shot because he was pretty far out front there when we last saw them. But looking at the track today, guys, man, this track, it throws a lot of curveballs. The weather's throwing us a big one, but it weaves in and out of the valleys here in St. Clairsville, Ohio. A lot of elevation changes, which means a lot of slick up and downs for these riders today and a ton of off camber. We've got obviously our FMF PowerPoint. We've got a lot of very dynamic sections that are going to offer a lot of opportunities for passing. We're just going to hope that we avoid the dreaded bottlenecks here today on this Yamaha racing track map, because there's a lot of sections you see like that are just getting deep. And this is coming down. This is what they call Dead Deer Hollow here. And that is Ronnie Rush coming through. He's dropped off the back a little bit of our XC1 class here at the 7-mile marker. Guys, you can see 14.2 miles. That's actually going to be for our pro bike race. This track about 10.8 miles long. Look at this. We see Kenny Schick now, one of our XC2 riders, has made some moves. Looks like we've got Tanner Walker coming here, another one of our XC2 riders. So now we are back into the XC2 riders on screen. Looks like Andre Williams, so that's about the top 5 there in our XC2 here, 7 miles in.
And going to take a look at your lead group making their way through this section just a little bit ago. It is still Josh Merritt out front leading the way. Merritt, some good history here at this spot, carrying that momentum with him in 2025. And looks like he's trying to quickly hit the ground running and get away from the rest of the field. Looks like that is the Bidwell Bullet himself in the number 2 spot. Looked like that might have been one of his teammates.
That was Glada there.
That was Glada,
in second. Looks like Wyatt Wilkin may have actually gotten around Jared McClure. Then we see Harrell. Looks like Hunter Hart has made some moves. Then it's Jay Shadron. Adam McGill's made some passes. He's gotten around Chris Borich. And then looks like that is Austin Abney. Already the goggles off for the 703 of Abney. He's known for that. Even at the races at home, that IXCR series, always taking the goggles off. Then here comes some more of our XC2 riders. There's Grayson Eller. And look at this. Like I said, there is Braxton Gross. Now he is actually physically to the rear of that XC1 Pro class. And is that? No, so that is Ronnie Rush. So we caught the tail end of this shot before. I was wondering if that may be Alex Tiemann. Another rider we'll obviously be keeping an eye on from that XC2 Pro-Am class. But that was our specialized rapid replay showing you the running order 7 miles in here. So that actually, Kenny Schick, the 259, that would be second place in that XC2 class. A little further back in the running order here. Now we're getting back into our A classes and maybe even some of our B classes. This ravine here, you look at the water running down this, guys. I rode this on the Grizzly yesterday, pedaled it. You know, there's barely any water on this thing. Now it's a veritable waterfall coming off the ledges. Mother Nature is just really absolutely dumping the rain down right now, and you can hear it outside the Racer TV studio.
Yeah, at the moment showing no signs of easing up whatsoever. I got to give Wyatt Wilkins some credit. He went wide in the tail end of that second corner, cut back underneath, and got a drive up the hill.
You must not have seen it if you think he went wide.
Oh, did he not? We were right here.
He spun around backwards and flew into the banners. It was almost like he slingshotted out of the banners, found some dry dirt, and then just shot past the rest of the field on the inside, going from virtually last. He and Adam McGill hit. Okay. It was a racing incident. Wyatt came in hot, spun around backwards. He and McGill made contact, and Wyatt went flying into the banners. And next thing I know, he's literally just driving by guys on the way up the hill because he was in the grass where there was traction. Those guys were all out in the slicker part of the track. But Josh Merritt was checked out and gone by that point. He had a huge hole shot in that XC1 class.
Johnny, were you able to catch that rider that fell off the side of the machine?
I didn't. I saw the chaos, but where I was standing, as soon as that stuff happens, everybody starts jumping up. Look at this. We've already got some bottlenecks here. This is 4 miles in, so our XC1 riders are well past this part of the track, but you can see just how deep the ruts are getting already. Keep in mind, folks, we already had we had some micro races this morning, followed by some youth races at 9:30. Then we had our 11 a.m. Amateur race with our 4x4 Pro, our WXC. And when they came in, you guys got to interview them. They said the track was starting to get pretty gnarly in some sections.
Yeah, no doubt. And that was their last few laps of their race. That's the first thing that these guys are going to have to go through.
Well, this is something that Jackson and I talked about all day. We sit at the finish line for all those morning races, and it had kind of packed down. We weren't really seeing it get dug out, anything like that. So we were curious whether or not that was a story throughout the whole course. Clearly not the case.
Well, I will say, I've raced here a lot of years, and I was able to get out and check out the course. And you really need to kind of keep your head on a swivel. You know, these guys are just riding into these ruts. You got to look ahead. You got to see where those ruts get deep. You can see there's a perfectly good line to the left there. You just got to check up a little bit early. You know, try to hit those insides, outsides, cross over the main rut so that you don't get yourself. You can see some of these guys. Reason why, watching here, some of these guys are able to just keep going through. We talk about this all the time in mud races. We got the big tires. We got the small tires. We got the tweeners. Most of these guys, depending on which tire company they ride for or what they choose, have multiple different options. And today, it was one of those days. It was was a mixed bag, even with our XC1 Pro riders. Most of the guys opting for the bigger tires. A few of them saying, nope, I'm going to stick with the standard 21-inch front, 20-inch rear. The track's hard pack. I'm more worried about the maneuverability of the machine than I am getting through some of those deeper ruts. I'll just pick good lines, but a lot of this race is going to come down today to picking the smart lines in the sections that do get bad.
Well, and something to mention, it hasn't been like this all day. As we take a live look here at the FMF PowerPoint, it is still Josh Merritt out front, but these conditions have not been what we've seen all morning. It rained yesterday evening, a little bit this morning, but then actually cleared up and the sun came out for a bit as we see Bryson Neal now comfortably in that number 2 spot. Looks like Wyatt Wilkin in 3, John Glada in 4,
Jared McClure, Owens. Yep. And then looks like Stephen Harrell. Hunter Hart is making moves. Jay Shadron there.
Chris
Borge. And now I'm wondering, I did not see Walker Fowler at all there.
I did not either.
Oh.
Here we go. This could be. No.
That's actually going to be that is Andrew Banoski, a rider that had a great ride out of our XC2 class. So the only thing that is possible is if the rider that I thought may have been Owens, if that was Fowler, but if not, then we have not seen Walker Fowler come through this camera shot here at the 9-mile marker, which could be disastrous for the one of the riders embattled in that championship battle right now here, 5 rounds deep, working on you can see we're getting our camera cleaned. Vision is important here for not just the racers, but also for Racer TV. And again, those ruts starting to get deep in some sections here. There is Kenny Schick, another one of our XC2 riders. And then Andre Williams, another XC2 rider. So those guys both inside the top 5 in that XC2 class. Then comes Tanner Walker, previously Mr. 9-2 himself. And you can see things really starting to get strung out here, guys. And this is why, these sections, once they get deep, this rider likely has a rider stuck in front of him. You could tell by the way he was sitting, he was just waiting for an opportunity. That's actually Todd Moscala there on the 723 machine, one of our senior A riders. You can see this other rider saying, I'm going to take this outside line and try to make the pass. Todd having to back his machine up. And you see them rocket side to side. They'll do whatever they can to try to get traction. But these lines are going to continue to develop, these insides, these outsides throughout the day. That rider right up the middle, no problems whatsoever. Looks like that may be Dalton Keys on the 123 machine. Hard to tell who some of these guys are now. We're getting a little further back in. That looked like James Glada. So this is continuing to be some more of our XC2 riders working their way through. Did not see Alex Tiemann, a rider that we know is known to put in charges late in these races, get himself back up in the mix. He is our points leader in that XC2 Pro-Am class. There's Alex Elioff and a couple more of our XC2 riders. So some great camera shots here showing you just how slick and actually how deep some of these ruts are starting to get out here on this Powerline Park track.
Yeah, Tiemann, that's been the story on the podium every time is he has been able to put in these magnificent comebacks and even get up to the top step. But
there's Tiemann right there.
Right on cue.
Right on cue.
And he's like, if I can just get these starts dialed in, it'd be a totally different ball game, but I make it hard on myself.
Right now, he is way back. Yeah. I mean, these are some A riders now coming through. That's actually one of the Likens boys. I always forget which one is which. One races in the morning. I think that's Cole.
Yes, I believe. Yes.
So that is one of your college A riders just behind Alex Tiemann, who is well outside the top 10, at least as they run right now in that XC2 Pro-Am class. You can see again here at the 4-mile marker, these ruts just continuing to get deeper. And each rider that gets stuck, guys, they're digging dirt out, and making those ruts even deeper as they're rocking side to side. It's just these ruts just keep getting deeper and deeper. I will say, looking at it, being out there even this morning during the race, I think this is maybe 15 to 20% of the track that is starting to get rutted and deep. The rest of it is just that super hard pack slick. So it's that balance of, do you set the machine up, go with the bigger tires so you can get through the ruts easily and run the main lines, or do you try to carry your speed around the rest of the track? Guys, we're looking at each other.
Yeah,
how about it?
It is absolutely pouring outside. We continue to hear the rain get harder and harder here in the TV booth, which brings me to, Johnny, Zach's talked about it all day. With the conditions that we're having, do you think, as an Ohio man yourself, that this rain is helping those riders? Because we know how sticky this ground gets. If it stops raining, this dirt definitely going to tack up. You think the rain could be any advantage to them?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to help them keep the bikes lighter. You know, as the mud gets thicker and heavier, it weighs the machines down. You know, it hampers the vision. But the rain does the same in a different way. You could potentially have problems, obviously, with ingesting water into the machine. You have a problem with keeping the goggles on. And guys, I just got a text. This is a pretty significant update. It does appear that Walker Fowler is out of the race.
Oh, wow.
So this is a text from someone who's out on the course, so that could be disastrous for the number 2 of Walker Fowler. That would be a huge blow in his quest to regain the championship after Bryson Neal, grabbing that first round win, and then Bryson going on a tear these last 4 rounds. They were starting to distance themselves in points, which would mean if things finish this way and Walker doesn't score any points, depending on who wins or finishes second and where Bryson finishes, we could see that points gap open up even more with the Bidwell Bullet out front.
Yeah, no doubt. But still, a good points lead for both Fowler and Neal going into today over John Glada. John Glada with 85 points sitting in third. Walker Fowler with 126 points. And then it's Bryson Neal coming into today with 145 points leading the way.
Yeah, so as you point out there, I mean, Walker having much more than a 30-point lead over third in points. He will remain, regardless of if he does not score any points, he'll remain in second. But again, just going to open up that gap that much more to the Bidwell Bullet. Assuming Bryson Neal, finishes well today, scores any points at all, every point he earns is going to be an additional point over his nearest competitor. Assuming Walker is actually out of this race, as we're being told. We'll try to get an update on that as we can, as we watch some more of our XC2 riders working their way through here at the 13-mile marker. Again, keep in mind at home, folks, if you're noticing that we're just at the 7, now we're at the 13, there's actually a 2-mile section of track that is PM bike only that these guys are not running. So that's kind of why they're making so much ground so quickly. We do see some riders coming through there waving. That was actually Jeff Russell, the trail boss of the trail bosses, out there towing riders in. Continue to see some more A riders, and actually that might have been Michael McAvoy, who I think is actually running that XC2 class today.
And man, it's just we didn't go out into the woods, Johnny, but I know just around us at the finish line. Like you said, there for a while this morning really wasn't bad. There was a little bit of standing water, and then once that cleared out, it actually started to dry up a little bit. Now it's a full-on river.
Yeah, so I took the opportunity on Thursday when I pulled in. It was still pretty dry. Then we got that rain about 8, 9 o'clock Thursday evening, and it just dumped and kept dumping. We made it through. Oh, here comes summer. Look at that standing water in that section. You can see Adam McGill coming through. So this is our XC1 riders. There looks like Ronnie Rush making a push back up, making some passes, getting a little closer to the front. 14 miles in, so this is really approaching the finish line now. And here he is on screen, your XC2 leader. Look at him just wheeling over those water holes, absolutely flying through there. He has now gotten around Jay Shadron, one of our XC1 riders who had a great round at the last race. Then Grayson Eller, you can see kind of carrying the speed, keeping the front end light, but look at the water just splashing out of those ruts. These guys doing anything they can to try to find some dry running ground, and there just isn't much of it left. But to your point, yesterday the track was in really good shape. Even after all that rain Thursday night, I went out on one of the Yamaha Grizzlies. The track crew loaned me to go out check the track out, and it was great. There were some water puddles, but the dirt itself, like anywhere you could just reach down, make a little mud ball. There is second place in XC2. That is Kenny Schick and Andre Williams right behind him. So those two have hooked up in second and third in that XC2 class, and they are battling, trying to push closer to your leader, Braxton Gross. But they've got a good distance over the rest of that XC2 field. But you could make these little dirt balls. There was good moisture in the dirt. Guys, we can see on screen right now, that's not really the case. This is quickly escalating into a full-on mutter.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny that you said Braxton Gross was a little nervous coming into this weekend, because I saw him earlier riding around on a bicycle, and he was oddly smiley. He seemed very optimistic, seemed very happy to be here and excited to get to racing in conditions that we know he's probably not the most comfortable with. So it seems like Gross, we've talked about, he's embraced this GNCC lifestyle. He's living with a couple of families that he's working with, getting more comfortable. And, man, I mean, that start, we were standing, the Racer TV truck is right next to the start, and he was just perfectly lean leaned over the back of the bike. It was very impressive to watch, and clearly he's able to back it up on course as well.
Well, I think he knew he needed to get off to a good start. We actually talked a little bit before the race, and he said last year this was one of the races that really kind of took the wind out of his sails and trying to fight for that championship. Leader on screen, Josh Merritt, he has checked in now with 1 lap complete. This is just the very beginning of lap number 2. Running order still remaining the same, but look at this. We've got Hunter Hart on the charge, making moves. He is now up to the number 9 of Jared McClure and putting on heavy pressure with John Glaude Jr. and Wyatt Wilkin just ahead. We'll give you the running order as they have checked in here, but right now we'll enjoy this battling on screen. Chris Borich giving up a spot to Stephen Harrell there. Austin Abney just behind, and there is Adam McGill, who sits in the number 13 spot overall, with Braxton Gross having displaced him in the corrected time overall. There's Ronnie Rush, the 7:14, a rider we know can do very well in the mud. And there is Andrew Benoski. So actually Benoski is leading the way. I don't see him on live score. Oh my goodness, folks. Andrew Benoski, your overall leader out of the XC2 class with a lap time of 26:20, 9 seconds faster than Josh Merritt. Explains why I didn't see him. I needed to go a little further up the screen to find him there. This rider had an absolute breakout performance at our opening round at Big Buck. Josh Merritt barely making it up this hill here.
Look at how close Neil got right there, and Neil now...
Oh, this section's going to be a problem if these guys are getting stuck. These are the best riders in the world struggling. There is Wyatt Wilkin. Then it's John Glaude Jr., so that is your top 4.
Glaude's got the goggles off already.
Yep, McClure there in 5th. Hunter Hart not able to make the pass yet, sitting in the number 6 spot. And that looks to me to be Brandon Owens. Then it's Stephen Harrell, Chris Borich, and another rider just struggling. You can see him waiting at the bottom. There is Austin Abney, and then Adam McGill. I mean, they are just... Oh, Adam McGill is stuck.
Wow.
Benoski makes the pass. Look at that. Andrew Benoski absolutely on rails, picking off XC1 riders, guys. This guy is on the ride that dreams are made of right now. Since our last camera shot, he has passed... I mean, there's Braxton Gross. We thought he was doing great. He's actually in 2nd place.
Wow.
Unbelievable. Oh, and that's actually Dalton Keys there in the number 3 spot in that XC2 class. So we give you that rundown here. Guys, let's just do the overall. I think we're going to have it on screen here. Andrew Benoski leading the way. Josh Merritt in 2nd. Bryson Neal in 3rd. Wyatt Wilkin 4th. John Glaude Jr. 5th. Jared McClure 6th. Then it's Dalton Keys. Braxton Gross actually down there in the 11th spot. He's gotten back around Dalton Keys now. But Dalton Keys, Hunter Hart, Stephen Harrell, and Brandon Owens rounding out the top 10. And we've got a pretty interesting mix of XC1 and XC2 here in the overall. This is something we're used to seeing on
like
Sundays,
exactly.
Not Saturdays. But right now, Andrew Benoski just putting down an absolutely torrid pace. The rest of the guys just trying to keep up, and it's pulled them up, 3 of them inside the top 10 overall here on lap number 1.
Man, I mean, that amount of difference in speed, that's just comfort. It seems like he's got something figured out. I mean, you said 9 seconds faster than Merritt?
Yeah, 9 seconds faster. And to be... Josh looks like he's riding a pretty controlled race out front. Looks like he's just kind of biding his time, trying to hit his lines, make sure he does not get stuck, make good decisions kind of a thing. But at the same time, Andrew Benoski, again, we talk about this on Sundays, he can already see which lines are working and which lines are not. When there's a rider stuck, he knows not to go into that line. He's able to kind of get in that draft that we talk about with Grant Davis and Stu Baylor and those guys. Well, now we're seeing it come to life on a Saturday, and Andrew Benoski is the benefactor. He's sitting there getting to watch these lines, and guys, this is quickly turning into a big bottleneck here. 1 mile into lap number 2. Keep in mind, we have several hundred more riders coming behind that are all going to have to navigate their way through this section, and you can see it looks like now a line has opened up to the left here, an option line, and they are coming up through the brush and literally popping out of the brush, whereas you can see that rider stuck down there in the ruts. Man, it is anarchy, absolute anarchy.
Johnny, the emotions that rider sitting right there, I can't imagine it. I mean, rider's coming around both sides of him now, doing everything he can.
They'll have to fix that section there, no doubt. As now some of our top riders getting stuck into it. I'm sure they're going to redirect here in this one, get them through that other line where they seem to be making their way through pretty smoothly. Man, we're just 30 minutes into this one, only a fourth of the way there.
Seems like so much has happened already. Look at that, and a lot of standing water and a little bit of movement, as I believe that was McGill trying to make a move.
And I think it's McGill and Ronnie Rush that are battling it out there. Oh, and now.
And shout out to Gabe, our usual drone operator.
Oh, look at that. Jay Shadron just to the left, just before our finish line, trying to get his machine refired. That is the number 18, a rider who we talked about had a great run just 3 weeks ago at the Old Gray, trying to get his machine refired, looking like some type of either possibly water ingested in the machine or potentially an electrical problem. He's got the seat off, messing with the air filter battery area, trying to get that machine refired to at least complete this lap. If not, ideally, probably try to get going and score some points here today. But the rider's checking in now well outside the top 40 overall. Jay Shadron is going to have a long road to hoe. We see his wife, Sierra, there coming to join him. They're going to try to get that machine running, but he's starting to look a little discouraged, and this is usually we thought he was going to do it. When they take the goggles off, that's always the worst sign. It's just kind of that defeatist of, well, this is not it. Today's not the day, but right now, still trying everything they can to get that machine running. A great shot here that shows you how much these folks will put into trying to score points, trying to salvage anything they can on a tough day like today, guys.
A very, very tough day here in St. Clairsville.
I mean, Jackson, we were just at the finish line, and there was not standing water.
No, none at all.
This has all happened within the last 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's something worth noting. You can't really see it here on Racer TV, but we can hear it here in the TV booth. The rain absolutely coming down right now.
It's upshifting continuously.
It is.
It's grabbing a gear and also feathering the clutch.
Yes.
I mean, it is doing everything it can to drop the maximum amount of rain on us right now, and it is really taking its toll not only on the course but the machines as well. And that X marks the spot of all the rain.
This is a great shot. OPAG helping all the folks at home understand what they're missing out on. There is still a great turnout for this weekend. What Jackson and I were talking about, the person turnout there for the start. I mean, the fence was lined. They're not scared of the rain. And at this point at GNCC, you got to just think it's something you expect. And so riders hoping they were prepared, but I think this is maybe a little bit more than even they were expecting.
Yeah, I mean, you just can never really prepare yourself when you get kind of a storm that blows through like that. You get the red on the radar, which means a lot of rain coming down. We were fortunate to dodge the heavy winds. We didn't have like really the bad, no lightning, no thunder, knock on wood. It's really just been a very, very heavy rain, but you can prep goggles, you can prep the machine, you can do everything you possibly can to try to be ready. But when it rains that much and there's standing water throughout so much of the race course, it really just becomes a survival run. You can see, wow, that's twice as much water as there was coming down last lap, and it, looking outside, it doesn't look like it has any intentions of letting up anytime soon.
Man, that's actually a perfect image progression as far as how much things have picked up.
I wish we had a shot of that yesterday. It was dry.
Yeah,
absolutely dry.
Yeah, not even a puddle. So it looks like they are seemingly making progress on Shadron's machine. They're at least not giving up on it.
Yeah, the frustrating part at this point, I was just checking, and upwards of 75 riders have checked in at this point. Jay not having completed a lap, meaning that he is going to be in a position where to charge back to score any points, we've talked about this before, we'll have to get into the top 20. And right now with, 73 riders having checked in with one lap complete, Jay still has not. That would be a massive, massive comeback. It is not impossible by any means, especially in conditions like this. If he can get the machine going, just keep circulating the track and keep himself from getting lapped, it's definitely possible. But at this point, with each rider that passes, with each 20, 30 seconds that passes, that becomes harder and harder. They are putting the seat back on. It looks like they may have gotten it fired.
And they did.
There we go. All right. So Jay Shadron checks in officially.
So Jay checks in, and that will put him officially in, I'm going to guess, around 76, 77 overall. We're scrolling way down here to find him. He is actually 80th overall, checked in with a lap time of 35 minutes, 52 seconds. He is 8 minutes and 8 seconds behind the rider ahead of him in that XC1 Pro class. So a big chunk of time and distance to make up. But in these crazy conditions, you never give up. At this point, the machine's already dirty. You're already all wet and muddy. You might as well just go out there and see if you can't keep moving and get some points.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head as far as knowing how much could go wrong in the coming hour and a half, essentially, of this race. As, like you said, things at the moment not like getting any lighter. I keep looking for a little bit of light in the sky, but it's just more dark clouds as we watch more of our riders check in for a lap complete. And how about it? Andrew Banovsky on rails right now, trying to check out from the XC2 class. Like you said, I feel like we're talking Sunday.
Yeah, he is a rider, and I'll bring up here, he runs the local series in Ohio called the Competition Riders of America, CRA. That series brought up a few decent riders, myself, Walker Fowler, Josh Merritt, and many, many others that have had a lot of success in GNCC, but they race over 40 weekends. In the heyday of the series, they would race over 40 weekends a year in Northern Ohio. So there was a lot of mud races.
Right.
So CRA riders are known to be good mud riders. Andrew Banovsky just absolutely crushing it out there right now. And just another little toot the horn, top 4 all Ohio boys. We're in Ohio. Andrew Banovsky, Josh Merritt, Bryson Neal, Wyatt Wilkin, all Ohio racers out there in these very Ohio-esque conditions. And they're just like, what do you mean? This is what we deal with. Which, by the way, is why I don't live in Ohio this time of year.
40 races a year is just insane.
It was upwards of 40. Back when we were running, I think it was like 42 races a year. We had like 10 off weekends. In the winter, we had a snow scramble series where you were allowed to run snow. They do not do that many races anymore, but it's still, I think, like 25, 30-ish.
Wow.
But in the heyday of the series back in the 80s, they ran like 40, 42 weekends a year.
Yeah, Jackson and I were talking about it earlier. As far as seems like hometown crowd and hometown participants, there was a lot of Ohio. We always have a pretty strong Ohio turnout, but we could definitely tell going through the list today, there's a lot of local racers that are coming out for this event. And they're up towards the front in most of those classes as well.
And shout out to those other series as well. CRA was kind of the only thing going back in the day, but now, I mean, we'll give them all a shout out. I mean, there's Wexer, there's E-Rock, there's A-Works, there's JXC. There is so many Ohio series or series that race at least largely in Ohio. That is Josh Merritt on screen. Your number 4 machine still able to kind of charge up the main line on those ruts. Bryson Neal giving chase, but so far the Bidwell Bullet hasn't put in that big charge to really go for the lead. John Glaude Jr. now back up to the number 3 spot. McClure in 4th. And then it is Hunter Hart in 5th. So unless Wyatt Wilkin made the pass and got around all those guys, it looks like we may have, at least for the time being, we won't say lost Wyatt Wilkin, but he did not come through the camera shot there. There is Chris Borich.
Yeah.
That's Austin Abney. Guys, did we miss Wyatt Wilkin? Did he get out front?
I don't believe we did.
Ronnie Rush.
So one thing we can confirm, I do believe here, Johnny, Walker Fowler definitely going to be out of this one, at least from the look of the scores.
Yeah, he has not checked in with one lap complete. The texters, there's Wyatt Wilkin. So Wyatt has dropped well back into the XC1 field and now falling possibly into the grasps of and there he is, Andrew Banovsky.
Oh, no.
The leader of that XC2 class. That bike's smoking pretty heavily, and that is Braxton Gross right behind him. And then comes some more of our XC2 riders. Couldn't quite make out who that was, but Josh Merritt, flawless so far through about a lap and a half of this one, leading the way since grabbing a huge, huge hole shot on that Action Off-Road machine. And he's led Bryson Neal and John Glaude Jr. now starting to actually look like he's putting a little bit of pressure on his teammate. No goggles, though, so he's not going to be able to get too close to really make moves. Then it's Jared McClure. There is Hunter Hart. That is a rider that's made up a lot of positions this last lap. And I think a rider we should keep an eye on. He really looks to be on the move. And then next through is the 703 of Abney. And Chris Board's putting in a solid performance. One of the elder statesmen of GNCC has had a lot of success in the mud, in all kinds of races. 75 GNCC wins to his credit. Trying to put himself in the position maybe to battle for another one here today. And not too much further up the road is the race leader Josh Merritt. Then just behind him there we did see Ronnie Rush. And now here comes the number 3 of Wyatt Wilkin. Ryder was up to 3rd just a few miles ago. So a bit of a struggle in the last couple of miles of racing, but Wyatt's still looking like he's clipping along at a pretty good pace there. And then the 521 of Adam McGill looks to be the 5 of Stephen Harrell. And then I think that was Owens maybe behind him. Wasn't quite sure there. Do see some. It's not one of our lead riders.
Man, tough conditions right now. You know, we talked about riders having.
That actually may be. No. it almost looked like Andrew Banoski, but no, this is at the 4-mile marker. Those guys are at the 7. These are two riders working together, much like in the hard enduro world. When you get stuck, it's kind of a I help you, you help me kind of thing. And you just have to rely on someone's integrity that when you get them unstuck, they don't just ride away.
Well, having a solid run inside the top 10 right now is the sneaky snake himself, Jared McClure, who we were able to catch up with a little earlier this weekend to talk about 2025.
Yeah, this season here, we started out pretty well down in South Carolina with a 7th, and honestly, just kind of been finishing right around there, 7th through 10th. You know, a couple bad races there. The last few, wasn't feeling too good in Tennessee, so was just outside the top 10. But I honestly redirected a little of my focus this year to doing a little bit of snowmobile racing over the winter here, which it just ended last weekend. We were up in Maine for our final hill climb event. So, you know, that's something. I'm kind of getting older. I'm exploring a couple more things and trying some different disciplines of racing, and I've really been drawn to the snowmobile stuff. So, yeah, I think some of it translates to this style of riding. Like, obviously, a lot to do with, like, line selection and stuff like that. So being a pro racer on the ATV definitely helps me out. It's definitely different, though. I mean, some of it's like riding a dirt bike with the single track steering in the rear. So in that sense, it's definitely different, and they have so much more power. Even when we ride in the winter and Caitlin hops on the sled or on her 4-wheeler, she's like, this thing, you know, did you change something? I'm like, no, it's just not a big 2-stroke, you know. So it's definitely fun, and I enjoy it. The tracks are super gnarly, so it definitely helps prepare me for this in a sense. You know, you're still holding on to handlebars, and it's all the grip strength. So, yeah, it's been exciting, and I actually got my first win last week up at Saddleback, Maine in the Unlimited class. So it was good. You know, I was on the Skidoo 600 against, 900s and even bigger. So it was awesome to finally click off my first win.
Cool to hear from McClure there.
One of my favorites on the whole.
There was Wyatt Wilkin, but cool to hear from McClure there. And he was mentioning Caitlin in that one. Caitlin Osborne, I should say, able to get a 3rd place today in that WXC class. I should have asked her on the podium. I thought about it, but no doubt she's gave him some tips here today. She was able to see that track right before they went out. So, hey, that's one advantage to have.
Yeah, and Jared running right now solidly inside a top 5 position. Did get an official update on Walker Fowler. We are told that a collision with another machine early on, right off the start, only half-mile in, broken ECU connector, and unable to get that repaired. That's something he'd have to change a wiring harness to do. Somebody got into the back of him there, and that did end his day. So that is unfortunate for the number 2 machine, but the race will go on, and we'll see how this one transpires. You can see some outside lines developing. Now these guys starting to realize these inside ruts are deep. That machine nearly swallowed whole by the St. Clairsville racetrack here today.
Man, what a day. What a start we've been off to, boys, in this 50th season. We have saw just about everything you can think of, not just here on the 4-wheel side, on the 2-wheel side as well. We've been off to quite the season.
Yeah, at least there's been a fair share this year. It felt like some years past, it's the ATVs get the short end of the stick, or the bike guys. This year, everybody's gotten their little taste of dust and plenty of tastes of mud as well. We'll see. The weather's still looking kind of unpredictable for the rest of the weekend, so I don't think the 2-wheel boys are going to miss out on this party either. But for right now,
I think this is one party they'd like to not RSVP to.
Yep.
They're going to have to. In mile 7, sitting here watching our waterfall, our newly formed waterfall.
The calming sights of GNCC.
Yeah, it actually is. If you take the you take the mud and the noise out of this, it's a pretty beautiful valley here in St. Clairsville, Ohio.
Look, this guy's taking it in right now.
Yeah,
this is nice.
Wait, is that guy? I'm not certain, but that guy looked like it might have been Caleb Russell walking the track for tomorrow's race. And now out front, the number 4 of Josh Merritt, clicking off mile markers, getting ever closer, but also getting closer. Bryson Neal, a little closer than our last camera shot. John Glauda Jr. still there in the number 3 spot. Jared McClure in 4th. Hunter Hart 5th. And let's see, there is Chris Borch. So Chris Borch made up some ground. He now can nearly see the leaders ahead of him. The elder statesman at GNCC putting in a charge, trying to get himself up into a battle for a podium position, or possibly, let's get the hype going, boys. Can we see a Chris Borch win number 76 today? Does he add to the tally? He last added a win all the way back in 2019. So 6 years since he's won a race, and he's up in the mix here. We talk about it. Seems like every time it gets muddy, Chris Borch throws himself in the mix for a top 5, maybe a podium. today, at least 46 minutes into this one, he's still within sight of the leaders.
Yeah, still looking strong, and we talk about how much being able to see riders can help kind of pull you along. There goes Rush.
Yeah, Rush has now gotten around Wilkin, so Wilkin continuing to, I believe he was still behind.
Yeah, I think he was already behind Rush. But wow, things exciting as always. Mother Nature throwing her name into the ring as well. Here for round 6, the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC. Our specialized rapid replay shows the chaos as what was once a dry river bed is now a full functioning river, as Josh Merritt takes his extremely large hole shot and trying to run away with it. But Bryson Neal, John Glada Jr., and the rest of the XC1 pack trying to chase him down. Don't forget Andrew Benoski, your overall leader at the moment. We're going to get a word from our sponsors, and we'll be back with the Kenda Tires Powerline Park GNCC.
Everywhere but the seat. The seat is leather.
Alan, we get it. You love your bike. We do too.
That's why we're America's #1 motorcycle insurer.
But do you have to wedge it into everything?
What? Don't do that. This reminds me of my bike. The Wolf was about the size of my new motorcycle. Have you seen it, by the way? Happy birthday, Grandma!
Really?
Look how the brushstrokes follow the line of the gas tank.
Hey!
Hey! Brought my +1. Jamie.
Every generation believes they've invented the best way. With age comes wisdom. We've come to realize that every piece of knowledge is learned, passed down from those generous and patient enough to teach.
Take a look.
Legacy. It's not about leaving something behind to be remembered by. It's realizing that the future lies within the next generation.
Let's call tonight. All right.
The nature of true progress is humbly building something bigger than yourself. Rocky Mountain ATV MC. This is our legacy.
Whatever you drive, however you drive. AMSOIL specially engineers lubricants to maximize power, performance, and protection in your vehicles, so you can work hard and play hard with confidence. Order online at amsoil.com.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized E-Turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. RockyMountainATVNC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to the chaos that is Powerline Park.
Anarchy.
Anarchy.
That's the picture everyone's
we're past
got.
chaos.
It is, doesn't matter who you are, what you're riding, that's pretty much what you're dealing with.
Hey, come help me.
Hey,
man.
This is not moving. Are the tires
right
moving?
Here.
Or?
Yeah, just help me. No, it's cool. Just help me.
Are you mud fleas or not?
Oh, man, I'll help you. Oh, your bike's broke? Well, then you just help me.
That's it. That's exactly
the
how that
conversation
conversation is going
from
on. Yeah.
mile 4.
I've got friends back home in Indiana that ran the mini marathon today in coordinates with the Indy 500, and we were kind of jawing back and forth about which people were tougher. Tune into Racer TV, folks. We got you beat. This is insane.
Yeah. You can see this.
There you go. Good job. Oh.
Yeah. That next lap around, that rider will absolutely take that left set of ruts and say, yeah, we're not going to do that again.
Man.
That wasn't the move. That wasn't the line. Or he'll forget, and then he'll be stuck in that same rut asking that same guy who still broke down there.
This was where it
for
was
help again.
a lap ago.
I've done that. Not going to lie.
Johnny, on a day like today, is it you against the track and just,
no, 100%.
Hey, I finished where I finished today?
I don't often have the opportunity to toot my own horn when we talk in GNCC racing because my resume is not that impressive.
Oh, stop.
No, seriously. These were the conditions where, and the advice that I gave to anyone who asked today is, guys, this isn't a race. It's like playing chess on your ATV. If you make the right moves, good things will happen. One wrong move will absolutely ruin your day, ruin your game, and that's what we're seeing here. Guys that are picking bad lines, it's so easy to get yourself buried. You just use up so much energy trying to get unstuck. You're losing time, and we do see our leaders on screen. So that looked to be Merritt. There was John Glada Jr. in the number 3 spot, and Bryson Neal still up in the mix as well there. And now here comes a few more, but it looks like those three starting to distance themselves from. There is the 4th place rider of Jared McClure. They'll be checking in here in just under a half mile, and we'll get some updated lap time, some updated running order. And folks, we may have to sit around and wait till those XC2 guys check in.
Yeah.
No, you haven't tuned in accidentally on a Sunday. It is Saturday, but at least with one lap complete, Andrew Benoski out of East Palestine, Ohio, in the number 1 spot from that XC2 class and leading the overall. Wyatt Wilkin has made some moves. He's gotten around some riders. Looks like he may have gotten around Hunter Hart, and Les Hart could have been one of those riders that was right ahead of Jared McClure there. But nonetheless, he's definitely gotten around Ronnie Rush. He's made up some ground. There is Rush. So it looks like maybe just that one position he picked up. And there is Stephen Harrell, it looks to be, on the number 5 machine. There is McGill. Running solidly, still just outside the top 10, sitting in 13th place overall after time correction. And now we are starting to see, refresh. These guys should have been checked in by now. I know where this is at on the track, so maybe we got a little bottleneck action. I guess the pace is probably going to be pretty slow. And there is a new leader. Ooh. It's the number 1 of Bryson Neal out front with...
Is that Hunter Hart?
It looked to be Hunter Hart to me in the number 2 spot, and it is. Bryson Neal checked in, leading the way with a 27:51 lap time. Then it is Glada in 3rd. It is Chris Borich in 4th, and Merritt in 5th is what I'm seeing. Actually, no, so we're showing, Glada, Merritt, and not seeing some of these riders that we're seeing on screen, not actually showing checked in here. So some of these transponders may not be working. But the running order on screen, we're showing Benoski checked in, still leading the way, but he has not checked in with 2 laps complete.
Yeah.
At least not on live timing and scoring. And that is Hunter Hart, who has now gotten around Bryson Neal.
Wow.
He's made the pass for the lead.
Well, I was going to say, if Hart had made that much time up, I wouldn't be surprised because they had started to stretch it out. And they really have opened it up over, I believe, John Glada Jr.
That is actually Merritt there. It looks like both he and Glada have stopped and gotten some goggles, maybe some fuel as well. Keep in mind, they did come through the pro pit area there. Looks like Josh Merritt got a fresh helmet.
Yeah.
And there is Jared McClure. I could have sworn in that other camera shot I saw Chris Borich.
Yeah, I think
that was Chris Borich as well, but Chris Borich not showing checked in on our live timing and scoring, but now we've seen him on screen twice. Guys, I think Chris Borich may be up into the number 4 spot physically on the racetrack. Maybe just the transponder not working. We'll see if we can get confirmation. Got a little camera lag there. Those guys are moving a lot faster than that.
It made for a nice slow motion shot, though. I like it.
But here at the 1 mile marker, we know we're going to see them coming from a little different angle, little different approach to this section as left as we look at the camera. So there is Hunter Hart leading the way. Big charge. He's gotten around the number 1 of Bryson Neal, gotten around Josh Merritt. So we do know those are your top 2 physically on the racetrack. We are still waiting and watching for Andrew Banoski to check in, and he still has not. So it looks like these guys are going to be clear, at least for this lap. There is, man, hard to tell. There's Merritt for sure.
the clean helmet.
Glada was one of those 2.
Yeah, I think Glada had gotten back around Boric, if that is Boric.
And then there is McClure. Check the phone and see if we can get some updates. one of the texts I was getting when Walker was out was one of Chris Boric's crew members. So maybe he'll give me the update if that actually is Chris Boric running in the number 4 spot. Not quite able to get a clear enough shot of him there to tell if it was him, but definitely coming through the finish line. That appeared to be him to me, and also that other camera shot we had just a moment ago. I think he's running up inside the top 5 again. We'll hype it up, maybe throwing his hat in the mix. Could this be the day? Chris Boric adds to the win tally. 76 with 75 times already having gotten the job done. Looks like now Braxton Gross has checked in the lead in that XC2 Pro-Am class. So he has gotten back around Andrew Banoski, now leading the way. And still only 11 riders have checked in with 2 laps complete. Last lap, they were basically nose to tail. These guys are now approaching the 2 mile marker and still just barely over 10 riders checked in with 1 lap complete. Things are starting to get chaotic out there, boys.
You do have to wonder if Banoski may be having some transponder issues, just since we're not seeing Boric either. So we'll wait and see. I mean, that's a possibility.
It definitely is possible. We'll keep watching on screen here. McGill has now come by. On screen, we're showing him in the number 9 spot. Next up, if we keep to this camera shot, we should be seeing Brandon Owens coming through, and then Braxton Gross, our leader, what we think is now our new leader in the XC2 class. We'll keep an eye out for Andrew Banoski. I did notice his machine was smoking pretty badly when he came through. That maybe looked to be Owens to me. A bit hard to tell, but the riding style, the way he was kind of hanging off the bike was very B. Owens-esque. And he would have been the next rider behind McGill. Next up, could possibly be seeing Braxton Gross, and then Elijah Edmondson has actually moved up to the number 2 spot in that XC2 class. He has gotten around again. Andrew Banoski showing not checked in yet. So we'll wait and see. Will it be the 223 of Gross? That is a left rider coming through there. And now we're seeing some more riders checked in. Jordan Berg, 13th overall out of our college A class. Absolutely on a tear. Top amateur and 13th overall. You can see that blue number 711 there in the number 13 spot. There is Gross. That is now your XC2 leader. It does appear that he has gotten around Andrew Banoski. So a bummer for Banoski after leading the first lap on corrected time overall, not only in the class, but in the overall. He has now relinquished that position. And is Ronnie Rush out there in the open again. We get some more slow-mo action, showing these bikes really articulating. Stephen Harrell behind him there. Those guys doing battle just in the 7th and 8th place position in the overall and also in that XC1 Pro class. So things kind of restored to normal-ish after a crazy first lap of racing. Our top 10 now are back to all XC1 riders.
Well, and that far-out camera shot as well did a good job to show there is still some hard-packed spots, and you talk about how off-camber some of these sections are as well. When you're up close, it's hard to really show just how steep those angles are, but some of this stuff is hard to walk on, let alone ride an ATV on.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of feet above head walking in the pits. I don't know if you guys have caught that, but you'll just stand and you'll turn, you hear everybody kind of make a oh noise, and you'll see somebody just flat on their back, their head. We got to actually watch somebody leave the concession stand and their French fries go fly. Oh, that was Buddy. That was, yeah, come on. Got to look ahead, man. That's, I get it. I've been there, man.
But Johnny's roasting me.
No, I'm not, man. You just, yeah. When you see those, here's the thing. When you're racing and you suddenly see like what looks like a perfectly good line, but you see all the tracks are going to the outsides of those lines, either inside or outside, you got to kind of do that math in your head and be like, hey, there's a reason why everybody's going around this line. let me take a second, kind of look ahead, pause for a minute. Sometimes to cost yourself a half a second or a second to check out a line, peek around the corner, versus there's your other option.
Oh.
And we see this rider, the same guy.
He's like, listen, I'm waiting on a tow. I got you, dog.
This is our good Samaritan here. And he's like, hey, man, why didn't you tell me not to go in this line? Well, I was over there trying to check my phone, see if I got any Twitter friends.
His phone's probably blowing up. Everybody at home watching Racer TV be like, man, you're getting a lot of love on Racer TV right now.
Sticky is exactly
this
what
guy's got to be pretty jacked, too. This is his second quad. He's like lifted out
there just doing deadlifts this afternoon. This is, it's just crazy. This is what GNCC is all about right here.
That's how he says thank you. He just roosts, pins it.
There you go. He can deadlift 405.
Levi Cohen, is that you?
Yeah. Yeah, right?
That guy only did it once. Levi would have done it for reps.
That's true.
That's true.
And you have to add another 100 pounds to it. What,
he probably would have carried it all the way to the finish line.
I got it, man. Don't worry.
Throw it on his back.
He says I'm keeping the goggles, though.
Yeah, he said thanks. Keeping these goggles and these goggles.
Scott's fresh set of Scott's.
Man, that's $120 right there.
Yeah, I mean, he's making out like a bandit. He may have an engine to pay for, though. Maybe that's why he's chilling there. What a shot, man.
The water continuing to run down this waterfall here. It looks gorgeous in the woods, but if you're out there racing, the last thing you're thinking about is how pretty it is. You're just thinking, boy, this is one of the few sections where I'm not worried about getting stuck because it's downhill. Todd Mascala on screen there. Rider we saw stuck in some ruts in his own right just a little bit earlier, but now he's making headway. Made it to the 7-mile marker.
I see this shot, and I just think, man, Mac Fain's going to get some sick shots.
Oh, yeah.
But this is the guy that was buried so badly before.
He had to run back up and help him.
Well, these sections are right back to back. It's like 2 turns in a row, but he went ahead and said, all right, man, you've been sitting here long enough.
Yeah.
Well, we can't wait for the excavator to come out here and dig this thing out. We're going to do it with manpower.
It has pretty much stopped raining, at least for the moment.
Don't say that.
Do you prefer that, Johnny? Or, I mean, we've had this debate before about, like, sometimes, hey, I'd rather it just keep on raining.
I mean, me personally, or if I was out there racing?
Give me both.
Me personally, I'd like to see it stop because I think right now with the amount of rain that's coming down, it's, starting to diminish the possibility of having a decent racetrack for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay. We did get an update from OPAG, our producer Adam Gordon. Chris Borch is out there circulating. Transponder did not register. They are going to key him in manually. So he is up there in the mix, battling inside the top 5 and very close to a podium position. So exciting day if you're a Chris Borch fan. But yeah, I would like it to stop raining. I think it's going to give it's not really going to improve much for these guys, even if it stops right now, honestly. It won't make it any worse. This isn't the kind of mud that gets super, super heavy like we have like at the John Penton. Oh, see, he carried enough speed. He made it through. Sometimes if you're going to be dumb, you got to be tough. When you hit it and you realize, oh, this is a bad line, you just give her the berries and hang on, and that worked for that gentleman right there. But I do think if the rain stops now, it's going to be rough for the youth riders in the morning tomorrow. The AM race definitely will be still pretty treacherous, but for the afternoon we might actually see some decent raceable conditions. If I was racing, I would want it to keep raining because I liked it. The nastier the better. I wasn't as fast, so I wanted the conditions to get worse, so everybody else slowed down.
All right. Makes sense.
It's so interesting to see the difference between the 2 sections. This corner, how deep now it's gotten. This straightaway, not near as bad. Standing water off to the side. Like each individual section, you go back to the finish line right on cue.
Yep.
Now it's all standing water. Jackson and I were saying before this race, we walked from the finish basically to the TV truck when the starts were getting ready to go off. There was no standing water down there.
No.
So things happen in a hurry.
Guys, the internet gives.
Uh-oh.
We've already got an answer.
And it taketh away.
The gentleman at the 4-mile marker helping everyone, our good Samaritan, his name is Dylan Trigg.
Okay.
He's an Iowa kid. Very hard worker, I'm being told. Pays his own way to GNCC racing, young kid. And I'm told he is one strong blank.
SOB.
Yes, gentleman, I believe is the word he was going for. I promise you that. His name is Dylan Trigg. Give him a shout out. He had some bad luck today.
That's awesome.
So Dylan Trigg, if you're watching Racer TV, Not the race you were looking for, but you're getting plenty of TV time. Maybe we'll thank your sponsors.
Dude.
Judging by the way he's deadlifting quads, probably trains with with Levi Cohen and Outlier Performance. Most likely has a supplement sponsor. Mikey,
there you go.
Plug said supplement sponsor.
I'll hook him up with some First Form. I got a First Form gift card coming his way.
There you go. Iowa corn-fed boy. He's a big boy, and he's just lifting quads out there.
That's awesome.
So thanks to John Berg for that update. Also, thanks to John Berg for the reason why we couldn't fully read the text message. We had to skip over some parts of it. An animated gentleman, John Berg is. But no, love to Dylan Trigg. Thanks. And that's the thing. It is a big family out there. There's Hunter Hart. That's your leader going by on the inside. And there is Bryson Neal just behind him. You can see those guys checking up, taking that inside line.
Ooh.
And then somebody who didn't.
Dylan, we need you.
Dylan Trigg. There is John Glauda Jr. in the number 3 spot. There is Josh Merritt, I believe. No, that might be Chris Borich. Is that no, that's not McClure. So it is. So Chris Borich 5th. We're showing behind Glauda. That was behind the. I think that was. It was hard to tell if it was Borich or Merritt. They wore the same gear today. How dare they do that? They literally wore the exact same fly gear, and they joked about it. They came up to me and said, "Good luck telling us apart today."
Oh, that's cruel.
Except for, and I'll go ahead and shout it out, Josh Merritt threw a little shade Chris Borich's way and said, "It will be easy for you to tell us apart." That was not McClure, because there's McClure right there. He said, "It'll be easier for you to tell us apart because I'll be the guy battling for the lead while Chris is back in 10th."
Oh.
So right now, they're actually locked in a battle together. Throw it back about 3-4 years ago, and we would see this week in and week out. Chris Borich, Josh Merritt, wheel-to-wheel battling. And right now, maybe Chris Borich may be taking that little bit of a shade thrown his way. Exception to it. Leader on screen, Hunter Hart leading the way. It is the number 1 of Bryson Neal in the number 2 spot there. Still, Hunter Hart really starting to push the pace, starting to get away a little bit and really dragging Bryson Neal away from. Okay, that is definitely Merritt for sure. And just ahead of him was hard to tell if that was a lapped rider or that may have actually been John Glauda. So that is your top 4 that have come by. Now, Chris Borich did not come through that camera shot, but we are told he is still out there and was, last we knew, in the number 4 spot. Looks like Merritt has gotten back around. Oh, now I'm confused. That almost looked like Glauda there. That's Ronnie Rush. I'm certain of that. And this is a bottleneck.
Yeah.
Welcome to the bottleneck.
Used to be a show called that.
There's Adam McGill.
There's Adam. Saying hello to the camera. Man, Johnny, we got to show some love, man, to Hunter Hart, the ups and the downs that he's had. This race, somewhat reminiscent of, I believe it was his first XC1 win at Ironman. I don't remember
2019.
What year. 19?
Yep.
A muddy day like this, rain coming down. As a matter of fact, it was one of those where everybody had the goggles off by the end of it. And when Hunter crossed the finish line, I was doing the pit reporting then, and I told him he won, and he's like, "I got what place?" I said, "You've won." He's like, "You've got to be kidding me." Just eyes completely bloodshot. This is good for Hunter. Everybody could use a win.
Sure.
Down through the top 20. Everybody wants to win. But
Mike, you don't need to qualify this. This kid has
hard
had
on him, and he's been hard on himself.
Yeah. For the last 18 months. I mean, coming into the 2024 season, Hunter Hart was on a short list of about 2, maybe 3 that we were talking about as legitimate championship contenders. So here is Chris Borich. So he has now dropped back. He is still running about in that 7th or 8th place spot, but he's got pressure from behind from Ronnie Rush. But back to the Hunter Hart thing, this is a rider that 18 months ago, or less than 18 months ago, 16 months ago, we had on a short list of people that we expected to win races, to battle for a championship, and 2024 just did not pan out for him at all. 2025, honestly, still just hasn't been it for him. He's just been struggling. Every time we see him in a podium position, something happens, or he just kind of gets beat out at the end of these races. But right now, it's been the opposite. He started in the very, very back, charged his way up, and now he's leading the way. It's starting to look like he might have the stuff to actually pull away from Bryson Neal.
Yeah, he looks good today. The man needs it. We'll see if he can make it happen. While we wait on the action on the track, man, GNCC, like no other, makes us all pretty proud of what we do here at GNCC. Well, I say we do. We didn't do anything. This man right here, our Amsoil Moto hero, David Lichtenstein out of Grafton, West Virginia, United States Army Sergeant First Class, been deployed over 6 times. This was really cool. Recently deployed in 2024 to Western Europe. He'll be deploying again in May of this year. David, now in the Special Forces, received a bunch of cool stuff, but he's getting ready to do his last tour. So we got to honor him today as our Moto hero. He's kind of cool. He talked to Judd. He's like, do I walk up or can I ride the quad up? And I'm like, bro, ride the quad up. That'd be cool. So.
Well, and he was actually nominated by his twin brother who was there in that shot. They lined up side by side as well. So it just goes to show it's a family, and we really do. We have some heroes out there, and it's not just the Bryson Neals, the Walker Fowlers. I mean, over 6 deployments, getting ready for a 7th and final one. Yeah, a thank you just doesn't quite do it.
It's always the cliche. I see the meme go around once in a while, and it's got somebody's combat boots like next to a pair of Alpine Star boots or something. It says, because you wear your boots, we're able to wear ours. Is it cliche? Is it cheesy? Yeah. Is it absolutely true? Heck yeah, it is.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. People are passionate about, a lot of things, and I'm passionate about the fact that these guys give up so much to, continue to sacrifice for us all.
Amen.
And something else people are very passionate about, free Howard's Hole. And
it's never too early.
I think it's already free.
I thought it was on.
As far as I know, Tim Cotter declared it free and said it would remain free. But this gentleman, this is part of the freehowardshole.org website. I just made that up. But if someone will start it now. Man, people love Howard's Hole. We're still,
for just 12 cents a day.
4, 7 weeks away from Snowshoe, and we're already concerned about if we are going to be able to have the party that is Howard's Hole that happens in the middle of a GNCC race. But it's a spectacle, folks. If you haven't booked your rooms for Snowshoe GNCC, if you haven't figured out your travel, you better do it because the mountain's booking up quickly. In fact, it's probably already booked full.
That's probably true.
But you can stay somewhere at the bottom. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at that.
Oh. Just added
he said, sorry about
that to me looked to be Jordan Berg. That was our overall top amateur and college 8-liter running in the 13th spot overall. Pretty certain that was him. And at the last second, he looked up, realized he wasn't in the preferred line, wheelied, and sometimes, when in doubt, gas it out.
What a day.
I don't suggest Howard's Hole on crutches, though. That's not my brightest moment.
You did,
shout out Nachi, though. He carried me across the crowd to the platform.
Guys, I think that was just Alex Tiemann that just came by, and he is now way back in the running order, trying to score some points here today. And let's see if we can find him all the way back in 29th place overall.
Yeah, I think Neil may have gotten back around Hunter Hart. So the battle is on. Bryson was going to make him work for it. Kind of there for a minute. Looked like Hunter was walking off.
Yeah.
So
that's very good point.
And that is Merritt, and just ahead of him, riding style tells me it's the 712 of John Glauda Jr. So that is your 3rd and 4th place riders. We do know that Chris Borch was in this battle. He's now a little bit further back, a little closer back to that 7th, 8th place spot with Stephen Harrell and also Ronnie Rush, but was momentarily up in the mix. Something happening in the early stages of lap number 3. Guys, quick update. We saw Alex Tiemann on screen all the way back in the number 12 spot, and I believe it was 39th or 29th overall. Braxton Gross leading the way. That's going to be a big shakeup in the points in that XC2 class if things do finish that way. 30 points for Braxton Gross.
Yep.
Alex Tiemann all the way back there in 12th would gain only 9 points, so that would be a 21-point swing. We may see a big change up there, and another Honda rider on screen. It is the Sneaky Snake, or he's been called after that interview we just saw, the Snow Snake.
Oh, yeah.
The Snow Snake out there and in the number 5 spot as they run here at the FMF PowerPoint. 9 miles in to lap number 3, and what should be a 2-lap card?
Man, I would sure think so.
That was one of the things they talked about in that 4x4 WXC. You could clearly tell Brendan Fraser, I think, was expecting a white flag, and 2-lap card came out. And Brendan always very expressive with his head nods, and it was clearly not a good one. And so, unfortunately, I never did find out exactly what happened, but he ended up losing the lead and several other positions. They're coming to the checkered flag. So pit strategy, everything else, I'm sure a lot of that's based off of the expected lap count.
Yeah, I mean, with this one, though, I mean, we're hour 15 in, 9 miles into lap number 3. I mean, you surely couldn't make it a 4-lap race. It would be too short. And looks like, nope. That may be Ryan Wilhelm, one of our college class riders. Yeah, it's just the track crew, the scoring officials, they have a lot to ponder here when they're trying to figure out exactly how long to let these races go. And, you know, they want to err on the side of giving people enough time. There is Ronnie Rush. I think Chris Borch, another one of the riders we just saw come through there, and possibly Wyatt Wilkin and Stephen Harrell as well. There is Adam McGill. Last we knew, he was sitting in that number 10 spot overall and 10th in that XC1 Pro class. Yeah, lot to factor in there, especially in conditions like this, because the lap times can change so dramatically from one lap to the next when you start figuring in bottlenecks, lapped riders, and just the overall deterioration of the course.
So holding here at the FMF PowerPoint, mile 9 of lap 3. Bryson Neal has, at least for the moment, taken the lead back from Hunter Hart.
I think that's an important move from Bryson Neal, not maybe looking at the championship, but just purely for the race today. You know, Hunter Hart was on a roll there. He had only been passing people, hadn't been passed. Bryson kind of sitting comfortably up near that lead. But to let Hunter kind of continue to charge out front would have put Bryce on the back foot, having to fight to try to keep up with Hunter. Right now, the way the track is developing, now he can control the pace. The one thing that we did not, we knew that Hunter had made, quote, made the pass there. I think they all pitted that lap, so Hunter may have been quicker in and out of the pits. Now with Bryson back in control of the lead position, he can set the pace he wants to run. There's not a lot of passing opportunities except in the multi-line sections, so he's also not getting roosted.
Yeah.
There's a big advantage in conditions like this to be out front and the one doing the roosting rather than the one getting roosted.
Well, there they are on screen.
Hunter hanging with him.
Yeah, he's right there. And you talk about how quickly things can change. That section a lap ago had been holding on pretty well, but already having to start to move lines going up that hillside.
Oh, there is Glauda and Merritt. That is the battle over the number 3 spot. So that is 3rd and 4th, and not that far back from our leaders. See a lap rider just kind of getting in the mix on that one. Josh Merritt seeing an opportunity to maybe make a pass, not able to make it stick. That is the top 4 checked through. Next rider we think we will see most likely will be Jared McClure in that number 5 spot. We'll have to keep an eye out for the 3 of Wyatt Wilkin. He's a rider that's been charging after a rough portion of lap number 2, was up into the number 3 spot and then dropping back near the tail end of the top 10, and he's been on a charge back ever since, Mikey.
Yeah, it's just been a crazy day all around with the conditions and everything. Hunter Hart up there with B. Neal. B. Neal, your leader right now. Hunter has been pretty vocal in the past about getting hung up with, I won't throw names out there, but with some other guys in the XC1. And hey, if I could just get, is that McClure?
McClure in the number 5 spot, all by himself at the moment, charging, really looking like he's putting down a pretty solid pace, trying to take off after the top 4 that have pulled away from him in this last lap of racing.
But Hunter has been adamant about, man, if I'm with Bryson Neal and Walker Fowler, I can hang with them.
Yep.
It's just I get stuck behind somebody and then I can't get caught back up with them. Well, today he's not going to be able to have that argument. He's right there with B. Neal. Given the conditions are gnarly, yeah, that's true. But this is what Hunter has been wanting and asking for of himself in a race situation. So it'd be interesting to see how he's able to answer to Bryson Neal, who retook that lead.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, right now he's I think he's answered everything that everybody's thrown at him. Yeah. I mean, with the bad start, he's marched his way up through. And Mike, you were talking about it earlier. I don't feel like we need to qualify it, but we've been very critical of Hunter, but he's been critical of himself. Yeah. And on a day like today, when he's doing Hunter Hart things that we expect, we give him the kudos. You know, he's up front. Yeah. He's been the fastest guy on the track the last couple of laps, coming all the way from the back, virtually last. When I saw him about a quarter mile in, he was way back there.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he was kind of mid-pack. Then he was up tail end of the top 5, then he was just jumped right from tail end of the top 5 to leading. But on screen, there is Bryson Neal. Hunter Hart just behind him. That is 1 and 2 here through at the 14-mile marker. We'll see what the gap is back to John Glauda Jr. and Josh Merritt. It's been about 5-6 seconds now. So it looks like maybe some lapped riders coming into play and opening up that gap even from our last camera shot a little bit.
Man, big time gap.
Yeah. Much bigger gap than we saw just a mile ago.
not to speculate, but possibly bottleneck. Something's definitely happened.
Yeah.
Here we go.
We see it is still Glada in the number 3 spot. Merritt just behind him in 4th. And now is where we'll find out. Will it be a 2-lap card in the hands of Ricky Tyree, or will it be the waving white flag, meaning only one more lap of racing with the conditions? I could see this one going either way. Looking at the lap times, last lap, they were a 27-minute lap time, meaning that with... Yeah, it's...
Is it 145 or 150?
I believe it's 150 for the afternoon, but I'm not the rules official on that one. 27:51 with an elapsed time of 54 minutes 20 seconds. So 30 minutes. Yeah, I mean it would. It would if they threw the white now. I don't know. We'll see.
I say run them, man. Let's do it. Throw the 2-lap card. We don't have an e-bike race tonight.
Hey,
Supercross is at 7. We're good.
We got a white.
Oh, there it is.
White flag.
White flag is out. And speaking of that, the Stasic race for everybody that's on site has been canceled for tonight. So no Stasic race.
Yeah, 120.
Good luck explaining that one to the kids.
1:22, 1 hour 22 minutes with a 27-minute last lap time. And when we refresh, this lap time coming in actually a little bit faster for Bryson Neal with 27:45. They're still going to go well over the necessary 150 time. They'll be pretty well right at it. And things slowing down a little bit on this last lap, likely. So, right call by GNCC. Could have gone either way on that one. Could have gone 4 laps, could have gone 5. But with the track conditions, I don't think anybody's going to complain about this one maybe going just right at the minimum and not going an extra 30 minutes to go, 2 hours and 20 minutes. There is Glada now checked in the number 3 spot, and it is Josh Merritt just behind him on the number 4 in the number 4 spot.
A lot of people don't know this. This is actually where Ricky Towery's at. This is artificial turf that Ricky demands be put down during mud races so that he can stay clean.
Stop with the rumors. Don't start these things.
That is kind of... Ricky's kind of got it made right there. I wondered how he stayed so clean today. Now I know.
He deserves it.
He does, dude.
So 4 riders checked in, 1 second behind for Hunter Hart. John Glada 37 seconds back, and then Josh Merritt only 4 seconds behind Glada. Top 4 have checked in. Next rider we see should be, and just on cue, the Snow Snake of Jared McClure coming through. No snow. Today's the Rain Snake.
Yes.
Mud Snake.
So 5 riders now checked in, and 3 laps complete. Wyatt Wilkin, Ronnie Rush should be working their way this way. I did not see Wyatt Wilkin on the last couple camera shots. Don't be alarmed. There's a lot of brown guys coming by. It's hard to tell who's who, but I've been watching for him to see if he's been able to make any progress and any inroads. Look at this. Has Hunter Hart now... Did we miss Bryson Neal? Okay, Bryson's still leading the way. We did get an update from OPAG. Bryson Neal still leading the way. Hunter Hart in second. And now out on the last lap around this race course. The course looking like it's starting to tack up a little bit now that the rain has stopped? Question mark?
Somewhat.
Yeah, for now.
Mostly.
So we got to do the dance one more time here in St. Clairsville. And this has been a good one so far.
Man.
Continuing. Like Zach said, not a sign of standing water here this morning, even with the rain. It just shows how much has came down before this pro race. And Mikey, when you're down there on the starting line, it just seemed like the closer and closer we got to this race starting, the harder and harder it rained, and it continued all the way through that first lap.
Stephen Harrell has now checked in the number 6 spot, and I did just see Chris Borch and Ronnie Rush check in as well, but it's 1 minute and 12 seconds back for Stephen Harrell from Jared McClure. So he's got to make up 1:12 to get himself into that battle for the top 5, with McClure only 37 seconds behind Merritt. So McClure may be still an outside shot at a podium here today if he can put together a very good last lap. Those, sitting, so 37 plus 4, 41 seconds behind right now John Glada Jr., who holds on to that final podium position. I think we could see, think back to 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks? 2 weeks? 2 weeks.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, we had, it was 3. I don't know.
It was 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay, 3 weeks ago. It's been a blur. 3 weeks ago, we had what we thought were guaranteed podium positions. Things were starting to get strung out. We go into that last lap of racing, not even in conditions like this. We had some bottlenecks. We saw Walker Fowler get nearly to the rear of Bryson Neal. Then all of a sudden, Walker Fowler gets passed by John Glada, who was 40 seconds behind him.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, come to the finish, he's back on Bryson Neal. It was just this big. Bryson got caught behind lappers. Walker got caught behind lappers. There was bottlenecks, and the conditions nowhere near as difficult as today. So we cannot give away any of these podium positions or, the win today. But right now, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart are in control of it. They're battling over it, just the two of them. But they've got a 37-second gap over that two-rider battle of John Glada and Josh Merritt in the number 3 and 4 spots. And then again, about 37 seconds behind them is Jared McClure all alone in the number 5 spot.
Johnny, I think you're right. That looks like you can get some traction through there.
Yeah, there's some grip under there somewhere.
Watching one rider make his way through.
Yeah,
he did. There's a little bit of grip.
Wyatt Wilkin has checked in now. He did have some issues. 1 minute and 31 seconds behind Adam McGill. So the yo-yo effect for Wilkin today has been significant. Was up near the front, was back near the back to the front again, and now sitting in the number 10 spot overall, 1 minute 31 behind the 9th place ride of Adam McGill. It's a big gap to make up, but you know why? It's going to keep clawing and clamoring and trying to do anything he can to score max points here today, keep himself in the mix. Wants to try to hang on to that number 3 or maybe even do a little better if he can. Waiting and watching here at the 3-mile marker.
And guys, this might be one of the pivotal points of the season that we look back on. With what happened today with Walker Fowler, this is very well could be like what we saw last year with a little bit of a different scenario where Bryson Neal wasn't able to finish the race. Walker Fowler, the rain came down. He didn't plan on racing. He did race, able to get back in the fight. Things could be going the other way here today.
Well, and to your point there, Jackson, we're looking at the point spread coming into today. It was only 19 points when they came into the day today. Should Bryson Neal win this race, we know Walker Fowler would not be scoring any points today. That would mean that's 49 points leaving here today, meaning near 50 points. That's almost 2 races now, and we know that Bryson has a baby on the way. Right. There's been talk of, will he? I did get an opportunity to speak with him yesterday while he was out pedaling the track. I said, what's the plan for Baby Watch 2025? Yeah. And he said, as of right now, Brooks giving me the green light. He said, based on the due date, I'm going to all the races. We're going to be there. We're going to be watching the phone. Luckily for him, the next 2 races coming up are both relatively close to home, as this one is as well. He said, Brooke won't be going to the race, but I will be. The plan is to go to race, and if everything goes according to plan, when I come home, we'll have a baby. But he'll have the phone close, and he may get a pit board that said, hey, you better hurry up and finish this race because you got to get back. Exactly. So, and we've seen that before. Yeah. I believe Josh Strang actually was at Snowshoe a number of years ago when one of the boys was born and was there. I can't remember if he raced and left after, or if he actually had to leave throughout the weekend at some point. But
I can't remember.
These guys are dedicated to their craft, but they also know that the birth of your child is something that you're not going to want to miss, and you're definitely going to want to not have to explain that to the wife.
No doubt. No doubt.
So waiting here now at the finish. And back to the mile 3 we go.
Guys, the lack of riders I'm seeing coming through is a little bit troubling to me.
Yeah.
It could just be happenstance, but it could also be a big bottleneck that just, somewhere beyond the reach of our camera, there's 50, 80 quads just stuck. And when our leaders get there, it could throw a big monkey wrench in the results and the running order for sure. But we'll wait and we'll watch here at the 3-mile marker. Will it still be the Bidwell Bullet? Bryson Neal out front. Will Hunter Hart have wrestled away the lead? He had about a lap ago. Bryson Neal able to get him back. And that has been the story of the race here. Those two going at it after Josh Merritt held the early lead through near 2 laps of this one. We are now approaching a quarter of the way through this final lap. Waiting and watching.
Yeah, it's slow rolling. Go ahead.
With those two battling it out front. Third place might not be the worst place to be if those two get into a bottleneck or something. It could leave a big door open.
In my opinion, the way the riders are coming through, I think there's at least a slight jam up or a slow portion of the track that may bring this battle back together. I mean, it is only 37 seconds back to Glada and Merritt in the number 3 and 4 spot, and only another 37 seconds back to Jared McClure. You know, we may see 5 riders nose to tail. We may see Jared McClure leading when they come through here next. But I think you might be able to just kind of put it all in a Yahtzee shaker and see what's going to happen here, because I think we should see some more riders working their way through. There's a couple tough sections of racetrack just before this. A lot of off-cambers, one line where you really can't get off and get around. So if a rider is stuck, not a lot of options to get around them cleanly.
See how it plays out. Been waiting on leaders for a while, and now it probably looking like the right call to do this a 4-lap.
That is Bryson Neal. So still leading the way.
Oh, there we go. Dang, so we know Bryson is out front. We'll hopefully, maybe we got a spotter out there we can figure it out.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get a word to see. Oh, camera's back. Tough conditions for these guys today to keep all this equipment rolling. As a lap rider working his way through there, we'll assume that Hunter Hart was still, they've been glued together every time we've seen him, so somewhere in the mix there. Hunter Hart still close, hopefully battling, maybe still a shot at this one, but Bryson Neal leading the way in control from the front right now. Next up, we should see the 712 of John Glada, and that is Josh Merritt.
So Glada MIA, Hunter Hart MIA.
Well,
we missed them.
Yeah, we did see somebody behind Bryson Neal, it looked like for a moment. Hard to tell if it was Hunter Hart. But we'll have a couple more camera shots here coming up. But if Josh Merritt did get around John Glada, he put some big time on him as well. Because those two were just really wheel to wheel throughout the entirety of the last lap of racing.
Well, there's no doubt about it. Conditions like today, anything is definitely possible here.
I really think the lack of even lapped riders coming through this section of racetrack. I mean, there's a lot of riders out there, and guys, outside you can just hear the engines revving just trying to get up the hill. So any slick part of this racetrack, even though the rain has subsided for now, is continuing to be a challenge for riders even just to make it through. And now we see Jared McClure. So is this a new 4th place rider? Have we lost John Glada? Did we miss him on camera? We'll jump ahead. We do have a camera at the 4-mile marker. We'll see if we get the leaders coming through there to confirm. Is Hunter Hart still in the number 2 spot? Is John Glada still in the number 3 spot? Or is it now Josh Merritt in 3rd and Jared McClure in the number 4 spot?
Lap rider going to make their way by.
I looked away for a minute, but as that rider was riding away, that almost looked like John Glada.
Yeah, that one was a hard one to tell. Bryson Neal on screen now, so there's your leader here at the mile 4.
So he is still leading the way, and there is Hunter Hart in the number 2 spot.
And one rider stuck right there.
Yep.
Be interested to see if Bryson Neal was able to get through there clean.
That was an interesting move from Bryson Neal there. I don't know if you guys picked up what happened there. He took a look. That inside line there at one point was marked that you weren't supposed to go that way. Obviously, that track marking has changed now. Bryson Neal taking a look at that. Presence of mind to say, hey, I'm going to check up, cross route this, go the long way around to not cut the inside of this. When I say cut, to not go to the inside of this corner. In a mud race like this, I'm not exactly familiar with what markings there are, but a lot of stuff is double placarded. There's string, and that was a very conscious move on his part to be safe. Josh Merritt in the number 3 spot, so we did not see John Glada Jr. We did not miss him. This has been a continuous camera shot here, and there is Merritt now in the number 3 spot. And that is not John Glada Jr. in the number 4 spot there. also not.
Good job. Just had to wobble.
Okay, battle for the lead, back in progress.
Oh, this is a good one.
Number 1 out front, Hunter Hart. This is what he's wanted. Be up in the fight with Bryson Neal. He's got it right now.
He's got his sights set on him. There's a lot of racetrack left, a lot of two-line sections, potential bottlenecks, plenty of opportunities for these guys to continue to trade positions.
On screen, jumping back to this mile 4 mark to see if we can catch John Glotta if he's not already made his way through.
We do, if that was him we saw as we were leaving, he was behind Jared McClure, who should be the next rider on screen, and there is McClure, so confirmed. McClure up to the number 4 spot, so a great run today for the Sneaky Snake, the Snow Snake, rider out of Casca, Pennsylvania. Now it's Merritt down through at the 7-mile marker.
Now jumping back to see if we can catch a glimpse of Glotta. And getting told a little bit of track has been cut out due to the mud. Continuing to watch for Glotta. I believe this is going to be him, a rider coming at a fast pace. And it is John Glotta. No, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something wrong with the machine. You can tell by the way he's riding. They're not at full steam, or maybe just, unable to hold on with the slick conditions. But he did not look to be charging in that last camera shot either. Looking like he's just trying to get that machine to the finish line, whether it's him or the machine, trying to finish this one out, and still solidly in a 5th place position. So a top 5, if he's able to complete this one, will still be a good points day for him. Shout out, we've got some more riders checked in. Shake up in our top amateur. It's now Trevor Furby out of Bellington, West Virginia, from that junior A20 plus class, sitting in the number 13 spot overall, just behind your XC2 Pro-Am. Oh, look at this, a new leader in XC2 Pro-Am as well. Elijah Edmondson has gotten around Braxton Gross and has a 40-second lead, leading the way in that XC2 Pro-Am class. Braxton Gross in the number 2 spot, and Kenny Schitt in the number 3 spot. So a good run for all 3 of those guys. And then we also do see Aiden Jones and Jordan Berg, a couple more of our top amateur riders in the top 20 overall.
Jared McClure had made his way through what we're calling the waterfall there. And now seeing the big number 10 of Borich making his way through. Let's see who we've got behind Borich.
And go ahead, Jackson.
I wasn't quite. I do believe that was. I'm not sure. That was Rush going through there. I'm not sure if that was one of our pros just ahead of him. But how about this, Mikey?
Yeah. Welcome to we welcome to the booth, Walker Fowler. How's it going, bud?
Oh, it's. I got dirty for nothing.
Yeah, dude.
That's kind of the bummer of the whole deal. But kind of fun, I guess, watching some racing action. Look at the water. Damn.
Yeah,
that would have been cool to see that.
It would have been.
That's a newly found waterfall there.
Yeah.
So what happened?
Slight altercation. I got into a bush, and the rider behind me could not slow down. I think he was in a little bit of a panic mode himself. He was on the ground off the start and just came in hot, hit the rear end, and his bumper ended up pinching my wiring harness and broke a bunch of wires. So, This is the day where Adam McGill actually does get to praise the Honda because the stupid Yamahas.
Yeah.
And I was like, but Yamahas are great. They're fantastic.
Yeah,
but in this particular instance, no power to the computer, and that's all she wrote.
It sucks. There's just no way to get around it.
Yep.
Just saw Chris Borich going by. Chris has had a pretty solid day. Was up there fighting for podiums early.
And
that was Stephen Harrell. Yeah.
Ronnie Rush.
And little Ronnie Rush.
Almost looked like Harrell was hung up at the top there.
Okay, and the rest of these guys, here goes Adam McGill and the rest of the crew rolling through. We are going to take a short commercial break and wrap things up here in just a moment. So hang with us, folks. Man, it has been an absolute wild day. We got Walker Fowler in the booth. He'll be with us when we come back, I promise. Don't run away, Walker Fowler. In spectator mode, reluctantly. But it is Bryson Neal leading the way. Hunter Hart in hot pursuit. Can Hunter Hart get in the fight? This is what he's been asking for the last couple of seasons. I just want to be in the fight late. Well, he has that opportunity today. So is it going to be Bryson Neal hanging on for 5 in a row? Or will Hunter Hart be able to answer, get around him, and take his first win of the year and some momentum as we head to Indiana in a couple of weeks? We'll be right back with more right after this.
On Track School is an online private school catering to some of the top athletes in the world. We offer a flexible schedule for students that are chasing their dreams and always on the go. We are an accredited K-12 school where students can graduate with a diploma. Scan the QR code or call us to book an appointment with one of our learning coaches to discuss your students' next steps.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
We've been there since the very beginning.
20 left. The main event. The mud, the blood, the beer.
Organizing the industry and building champions. "100 years of defending your rights to ride into the future."
Community, family, teamwork. It's what we have stood on for over a decade. Hauling might be what we do at the surface, but it's much deeper than that. Because what you need matters. When you need a haul, give us a call at 724-852-4488. For 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year, we at JD Enterprises are prepared to serve you.
It takes commitment, passion, and endurance to make something great. Made by champions, for champions.
Progressive GNCC Racing is brought to you by Progressive. Progressive could save you hundreds of dollars on your automobile and motorcycle insurance. Specialized e-turbo bicycles. It's you, only faster. Rocky Mountain ATVMC.com. Get ready. And welcome back to GNCC Live here on RacerTV.com. Mikey Wayne's here alongside Johnny Gallagher, and we, again, reluctantly welcome into the booth Walker Fowler. Man, this has been a crazy race. You guys have both had some major success on rainy days, and you both had days like yours ended up today, Walker.
Yeah, you know, it's unfortunate, but it's part of it. You get excited when it starts raining in Ohio. I rode last Friday in absolutely deplorable conditions, and was ready to fight, man. Bike setup was good, but man, these starts, I got to get off the start and try to stay out of the chaos. That's killing me this year. So it's an unfortunate incident that we were unable to repair, but life goes on, man.
Life goes on.
Life goes on.
You know, Walker, last year, this was the race, if you remember, that kind of, for the moment, seemingly took you what you thought was out of the championship.
Yeah, I'm starting to not like this place.
What are you going to do?
Well, hold on. And then there was this kind of miraculous turn of events when we came back from summer break, and suddenly you were right back in it. Obviously, at this point, you know, coming into this weekend, 19 points behind was manageable, but starting to become a bit of a problem, I'm sure, for you as you were trying to search for that. Oh, looks like the big. Nope. Nope. All right, so it looks like we may have missed the leaders possibly coming through here. We'll tell them we'll see him next at our camera shot at the 13 or 14 mile marker. But I can't give up hope. You know, obviously there is still a lot of racing left. You know, what's the plan? You just come back, you just try to win races and basically let the points take care of themselves, because obviously at this point in the season, a DNF is a big, I mean, we did look at the points. You will still have a pretty substantial gap over you will still continue to be in second place in the points. I don't know if you were aware of that or not, but with a big chunk of points that you had over John Glaude Jr. in the number 3 spot, you will continue to hang on to number 2. But at this point, do you just focus towards per race, or do you just keep that championship kind of aspirations in the back of your mind? What's the focus and plan?
Honestly, just like I said a second ago, just survive. Let's see, was that Bryson there? I can't tell.
think
That looked like the right shaped number plate. I see the back of that thing pretty often.
Ouch, man.
Well, actually, I haven't seen a whole lot of it. He's been killing everybody
Mikey,
this year.
you're wearing a locked-in shirt, and you're
don't
saying
tell the people at home that.
And it says locked in 5 times on the back, so I think we're really setting it up for Bryson Neal to come through on that Phoenix Yamaha for his 5th consecutive win. And honestly, people have already asked me all this. I don't care. I mean, I do care.
Yeah, no. I know what you mean.
But that might not have been Bryson, because you would think Hunter would have been closer.
Yeah, well, unless he was ahead of him.
That's also true.
We've obviously seen them swap positions a couple times.
But yeah, I don't really care. I mean, it's awesome to see a guy excelling. I did the same thing for a lot of years, and the torch has been passed. I thought, a couple years afterwards, in 22, I kind of thought maybe I was going to be able to rebound and be the first guy to get a championship back, and you know what? Maybe it's not supposed to happen. I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Let's look big picture. You have a lot of racing left under your belt. I hope, I believe. Johnny's looking out of his right eye.
I'm watching his face.
Tighter than me. But
it was the countdown.
You look at
a year ago.
That's true.
We were counting down.
It might start again.
This is Walker after a bad day, guys. That looked to be Josh Merritt there. So
my point is this:
if we didn't see Hunter Hart ahead of Bryson Neal,
that's true.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We definitely saw the Phoenix. I'm almost certain we saw the Phoenix Yamaha go by. So if we missed Hunter. Yeah, if we missed Hunter, then
we'll jump ahead to the 14, and we'll see. Do we have a new leader? Is it the number 6 of Hunter Hart, or is Bryson Neal still leading the way? We'll find out here in just now.
Just right now. No. No. Bottom line, Walker, outside looking in, you're a professional athlete. You've got several championships. You have the most wins. You could walk away right now and be content.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's like I was just talking to my dad, and he's like, we're kind of running out of stuff to prove. I was like, we ran out of stuff to prove.
Yeah, you did. Absolutely.
But I still have the fire. I still have the desire, maybe in a different way. Obviously, this year's been good and not good in a sense, and it just gets tough. It gets harder and harder to try to find a reason or a drive to continue. And it looks like
new leader.
Hunter Hart, yes.
Oh, look at that! Oh, Bryson Neal's going to go for it. He's running that lower line. Yeah, Hunter Hart able to hold him off, and that may be that's about the last spot on the track.
That's what I'm thinking. They're going to come out into that opening, that little power line.
That's about it, man. It's pretty one line from here. So we're going to see, unless Bryson Neal able to pull out some magic and square him up in one of these chicanes, that may have been it right there. Hunter Hart may get the job done for his first win of 2025.
And, Johnny, we've been so hard on Hunter these last couple of seasons. He's been hard on himself. Hunter has said multiple times, man, I get hung up with some of the other guys in the XC1. They set a pace that doesn't allow me to get up there with guys like Walker Fowler, with guys like Bryson Neal. He had the opportunity today. We said, how does he answer to the pressure? Well, right now he's leading the Bidwell Bullet.
And I got to be the first to say it. This is on Hunter right now. At Camp Coker, he had the final podium spot pretty much locked in. We had ran out of passing opportunities, and Hunter made the last mistake. Yep. I was able to take advantage of it. So right now, I hope he's racing forward and just focused on hitting his marks. This late in the race, I think, especially in these conditions, he's very capable of doing it. He's been very successful in the mud before.
I just think about the track from where we saw them last at the 14 to there. I mean, you would literally have to hand over the position.
I'm saying he pushes up onto the outside of one of these big berms.
There's not like a line left. No, there's not an opportunity to go too wide really anywhere. I mean, it's at this point, it's Hunter's race to lose.
100%. That's what I'm saying. His only error could be getting up on top of one of these big
left rider.
Mucky berms.
Left rider could come into.
Which I don't believe we saw too many lappers ahead of him. They obviously are still out there.
Yeah.
But this is Hunter's, man. Hunter's to win or lose, so we'll see what happens.
Well, when we see him at this point, it'll just be rounding this left-hander, and then,
I hear a lot of...
Well, we may have missed the finish. We did. Okay. All right. So it's over.
Hunter Hart wins it. For now.
Yep.
We will find out.
Yeah. Hunter Hart wins. Bryson Neal second.
Well, congratulations to Hunter Hart. Those machines smoking, those boys leaving it all out on the track. So Hunter going to grab his first win of 2025 in just a crazy day of racing. Flat out crazy day of racing. There is Bryson Neal.
4 seconds is the margin of victory according to our live timing and scoring. So coming in really close together there at the finish. Bryson Neal still, obviously probably going to be pretty happy with the outcome of today. Sitting in the number 2 spot, only 4 seconds away from a win. And there you can see, sounds like they're already telling war stories about the things that happened and how it all transpired. And
that looks like a sense of relief.
Absolutely, yeah. Like that's a I'm still worthy sigh of relief right there.
There was the actual sigh right there. It has been a while since we have seen this man in the middle of a GNCC podium. Again, a rider that we talked about 16 months ago coming into 2024. This is a guy we've got on our very short list of race winners, championship contenders, and it has been, in his own words, a dumpster fire the last 16 months. And here we stand today, your race winner, and potentially on par to put himself back in the mix for race wins week in and week out.
And Hunter is a guy, you guys have both competed against him. You certainly are more familiar with his style and kind of his mentality than I am, but he's always been very, very adamant about sticking to his process. We gave him some flack for that. He went into the offseason this last season, comes in this year, and he's like, I changed up a lot. I had to do basically some soul searching, and it was like this next step in a level of maturity for Hunter Hart, at least I thought, in the right direction for him to do things like he did here today and grab a win. So whatever you're doing, Hunter, if today is the proof in the pudding, if this is reminiscent of what those changes were, then you did the right ones. And he even left the butt end of his pants out on the track today.
Yeah, no, I think see the war stories. You can tell. I heard Bryson Neal say, I went up and had to come back down, and that may have been the pass possibly for the lead. Hunter Hart sounds like able to make it through a section clean that Bryson Neal had some struggles in those final miles of racing. Josh Merritt has now checked in 1 minute 38 seconds behind in the number 3 spot, and I caught off to the left of our camera there. It looked like they were washing his eyes out, trying, Walker, we've been there.
Oh, yeah. Conditions like today, you try to make the goggles last as long as possible, but it's almost a guarantee when there's actively rain falling that you don't even need anyone in front of you. The trees get heavy. You're ducking under branches, all the face slappers. Yeah, that's not a good day for goggles, but you run them as long as you can, and then you just grit your teeth and squint your eyes and make it happen. Start blinking a lot.
Good job, man. There you see a handshake between two combatants after a race that went right down to the wire. Hunter Hart grabbing the win, Bryson Neal in the number 2 spot, and a lot of respect for those two. You can see the hugs now going around. Hunter Hart, sense of relief, sense of accomplishment, and we'll get it all in his words here in just a moment. Our man, Zach Herron, standing there and ready to interview today's race winner, Hunter Hart.
Struggle at the beginning of the year, but no, it was good. I was terrible start. We came almost from last, and then just working our way up from there. It was sick. Bryce and I ended up gapping out on everybody actually. That was kind of nice. It was just a two-man race. Didn't worry about there's one person.
All right, so some technical difficulties here, folks. Sorry about that. We're going to try and
conditions continue to throw us curveballs.
Walker, it's tough out there for a rider. It's tough in here to film a race as well.
Yeah, honestly,
guys, it's a couple more riders checking in here real quick. Jared McClure has checked in now in the number 4 spot, and I believe it looked like John Glauda Jr. did just check in. No, Chris Borich checked in the number 5 spot. So top 5 for Chris Borich, 1 minute 56 behind McClure. Who was the 4th place rider.
Hey, check, guys. We're going to try to jump back in here. Mother Nature continuing to make things interesting for us. Hunter Hart, let's take it from the top, dude. Bring it back. The whole race you were marching forward. Didn't quite get the start, but you were making passes and quickly making up time as well. Take us through where you felt like you were a little stronger, and then that battle back and forth between yourself and Bryson.
Dude, man, I mean, it was kind of follow the leader. It was almost a guessing game of who was going to get through the lappers clean. And and I mean, it was gnarly. Like, kudos to those lappers out there. I mean, they were trying their best to get out of the way, and it was nasty. I mean, we'd get into some sections that were, I mean, 10, 20 quads deep, and then him and I were just kind of working our way through. The water was the worst part. Like, it was just deep. Like, it would come over the front, and it was nasty out there. And luckily, we were able to be the last one to get have the issue. And there was really just one last wood section that I knew was going to be nasty. We cleared that, and I was like, all right, we're good from here. And we just, carried it on from there.
Now, I heard you talking with your team there afterwards. Sounds like you guys had a couple of very smooth goggle changes in pits. Take us through it, man, because I know how crucial those are in races like this.
Dude, I mean, my dad, I bet you, I didn't slow down. I came in about second gear on an uphill. He literally pulled the goggles like that and just dropped them on. I mean, hey, I bet you it wasn't even half a second we lost there. The Scott goggles were perfect. We dropped them on, and from there we were off. And that was honestly the crucial one. That was the lap I was really able to make a lot of time up and just make some passes because I had goggles and just push forward from there.
Now, we've been talking about kind of rebuilding from the 2024 season. We've had some solid results, but, we've just missed out on a podium. To get on the box and to get in the center of it as well, confidence, what are we feeling right now?
Dude, I mean, we've been there all year. We missed out three times we were fourth, and two of those times were by less than a second, so it was good. Had a pretty heart-to-heart talk with my team, and they basically said, buddy, if you want to do this as a job, we can't ride around a ninth anymore, and that was basically the goal this weekend. We went to a Mid-East last weekend and got the win there, and just decided that today we weren't selling for much less than a win, and it's the mud. There's a lot of unpredictable variables. It's a different story if we can do it again in 2 weeks. That's when it'll be something to truly speak on and be pumped on, but we're going to take the win and go from there.
Hunter Hart showed up to work and did his job. XC1 winner.
Hey, congratulations to Hunter Hart, a man no stranger to mud race wins, his first career win coming at Ironman. We said, 2019?
I believe it was 2019, yeah.
And
also
we had there in a couple. What's that?
Also a mud race.
Yeah. Also a mud race.
Also, I did not finish that day either.
Oh, boy.
You exploded your battery that day.
Man.
That's
right. Yeah.
All right, I think we'll see if we can get a word in with Bryson Neal and Josh Merritt. We've got our crew on the ground there, Jackson and Zach, working their way, trying to get those guys sure they're getting cleaned up, getting ready for their podium interviews. But first, we're going to try and get you the race in their words as they do check in. And every rider that comes into me looks like John Gallardo Jr., but I think that one actually may have been... And it was. Checking in the number 10 spot overall. Guys, 9th place overall, Elijah Edmondson, your winner of the XC2 Pro-Am class. And it looks like we are now ready with Bryson Neal with his medium jersey and our man Jackson Burrell.
Yeah, we're just about ready. Bryson, I believe we've had a swap of the jerseys here. The small got pulled out. But no matter what, Bryson, hey, we're up here. You're on the podium again. A second place for you today, man. Quite the battle y'all had going through that final lap. Take us through it.
Yeah, man, this race was crazy today. Looking at the race in the morning, I was like, I don't think it's as bad as what it was this time last year for our race. And then, man, that rain shot that we got right on the starting line, that made it insane. There was just so much water on the track. The water was just the biggest enemy today. The first two laps was just slip and slide, and you couldn't read the holes very well. We couldn't tell how deep they were. Didn't know what you was getting into. We put this thing in submarine mode 2 or 3 times, and luckily we came out. But man, that start was huge. That start was chaos. I started uncharacteristic. I started on the clear far right on the outside, and we second going to the woods. So we nailed the start. Anti-gravity batteries by that DASA engine. Man, everything hit head on. We got a great start, and that was huge today once we got that track position. Josh was riding really good. He's picking really good lines, and I was just content, just back there, just following him and just trying to stay at the goggles and try not to splash the bike too hard and just think about the last 2 laps. Once we got to the pit, Hunter got with me. He passed me in the pit, and then it got really nasty again because all the water was getting off the track, and it was starting to dry up, and whenever it was starting to get groupy and heavy, and everything was just starting to get really, really deep. It was better whenever it was raining because it wasn't getting that deep and that nasty, but the last 2 laps, if we had one more lap, it would have been really, really hard. It would have been a heck of a last lap because the track was starting to go away really bad, and man, we had the lead going to the last lap. Was riding really good, had the line styled, had our way figured out around the track, and hit a lap rider. Thought he had the hill climb. He made it all the way to the top, and I thought he looked good. So I went, and man, he just was spinning just at the top. And I was already committed halfway up the hill, and I hit him in the butt and knocked him off the bike. I didn't think I hit him that hard, but I knocked him off the bike. And I was rolling backwards back down the hill, and Hunter actually found a line to the right and made a whole new line. So we was able to get out of there. And man, I was just pumped for him to get his first win of the year. And we was just able to, race it with him all the way down to the finish line into these corners. And man, just bring home a great points today, getting second overall at a mud race like this. We're pumped. We're stoked. Damn good day. And just give the glory to God. Hopefully everybody had a safe travels out there today and tomorrow, and everybody goes back home to the family and loved ones safely.
All right, guys, there it is. Bryson Neal, your second place.
Well, there you go. So that's how the final pass happened. Bryson Neal says he got to one of the hill climbs. Left rider thought he was going to make it. Ended up making a little connection with the left rider there. Hunter Hart able to get a round, and that was the pass for the lead. Able to hold it to the finish line. We'll see if we can get a word with Josh Merritt down there at the finish line. Today's third overall place finisher. Last year's winner, so 2 years in a row on the box here at Powerline Park in the home state for Josh Merritt. Good run for him here today. And running down real quick, obviously, well, those guys will break in when they're ready. Jared McClure in the number 4 spot. Chris Borge 5th. Stephen Harrell 6th. Adam McGill 7th. Ronnie Rush 8th. Our XT2 winner, Elijah Edmondson, 9th overall. And John Glauda Jr. rounding out the top 10. And those are still, as of right now, the only riders checked in here with 4 laps complete. And it looks like Jackson is ready with Josh Merritt.
I sure am. I didn't even recognize him when he pulled in here. Josh Merritt absolutely covered in mud, but with a third-place finish. Josh, take us through it.
Man, Powerline Park, got my first win ever last year here, and had confidence all these last 3 weeks. Told my fiance I wanted to put in the work and ride and train, and man, we did just that, and we put in that work, and then we came here with confidence. We got that whole shot by a country mile, and I was trying to be safe the first lap. It was tough out there because there was so much water, and it was still raining at that point that every puddle, I didn't know how deep it was. And then on the second lap, I got stuck on there's a little hill. There was a couple people there. They didn't point me anyway. And I sadly, there was a line before it, and about half the class went by me. And, I wasn't really mad about it, other than I got really muddy after that. But, I just took my time, raced my race, and went out there and just picked people off. It was actually the pro hill that it was an option line. I went around the last 2 laps and passed key people there and got into third there. So after that, man, just made it to the finish line, didn't push the bike very hard, and we're back on the podium, and I'm happy.
Hey, Josh, the confidence paid off. How you feel rolling into Indiana?
Man, one race at a time, we needed that podium. We needed that to, get the momentum going for the year again. Yeah, I've been having, top 5, 10 races, and I want to be on that podium every race. And, congratulations, Hunter. I know that's his 5th win. We just talked about it the other day. And Bryson, awesome racing. And, we'll be ready for Indiana, and hopefully we can get up on the box again.
He needed a podium. He got a podium. Back up to you guys.
Well, thank you very much, Jackson Burrell down there with Josh Merritt. And, boy, that's a wrap. On the day, we got to take a look at that specialized race recap in a gnarly start. Nice little kind of almost pro motocross style start uphill, that immediate left, downhill. Our man Ricky Towery. This just, the rain really picked up as soon as this one started. Walker, you walk us through this start, man.
Yeah, Bryson Neal on the outside there. That was a great move. I wanted to go next to him, and I should have let my gut tell me to do it. I did not, and I never got to see this. We had Josh Merritt leading early. Riders obviously stuck. I didn't get to see any of this, but yeah, look at these guys go. This is cool. Hey, they're still clean. Lots of water out there, clearly. And, we start catching glimpses of Hunter Hart there out in the lead, too, by about the midway point of the race.
Yeah.
And, obviously, Bryson Neal just doing his thing, keeping himself out of trouble, and, just letting the track come to him.
letting the track come to him and getting, as you pointed out there, Walker, in a big battle with Hunter Hart. Ultimately, coming down to the final lap, those two still glued together with Josh Merritt and also John Glada Jr. rounding out the top 4, Jared McClure 5th. Last lap, it was really anybody's race still at that point, not big gaps, and then the gaps started to open up. McClure able to get around, Glada looking like he had some bike issues, but when it came right down to it on the final lap of racing, it was just these two. We see Bryson Neal taking the inside line, Hunter Hart outside, able to hold him off, and Hunter Hart grabbing his 5th win of his career and first win of 2025, and then the war story started. He's talking about he ran into the back of a lap rider falls off on top of his quad, and that's where Hunter Hart was able to make the pass for the win.
It's interesting, Johnny and Walker, you guys were both talking about, hey, this is Hunter's race to lose. Scenario could be, hey, maybe they get into it with the lapper. We actually rewind, and that's what happened with Bryson Neal. He was the one that got into it with the lapper. Hunter Hart capitalizing. There is your overall. Hunter Hart first, Neal second, Merritt rounding out the box. Cobra, great ride today, a 4th. And how about it? The old man, Chris Borich, rounding out that top 5.
Yeah, great ride for Chris Borich, getting himself in the top 5 for the first time in quite some time now. So great ride for him using that experience and getting himself up near the front. Stephen Harrell in 6th, Adam McGill 7th, Ronnie Rush 8th, and again, our XC2 winner, Elijah Edmondson, 9th place overall, with John Glada able to limp that bike in. We could tell something very wrong on the last lap, going from 3rd and just continue to drop time, but salvaging some 10th place points for the day.
This is normally where we do like big takeaways. I will be completely Walker Fowler. I'm terrified to death to even ask you that, man. So I guess what is the mindset? You alluded to it a little bit, but what is the mindset after a DNF today? There's no way to chalk it up and be like, well, I learned something today. You're a veteran rider. You have more wins than anybody. You've got a ton of championships. So how do you move forward from today and move into Indiana and say, all right, forget it. That's in the past. Let's go out and just maybe grab some wins, grab some podiums.
I mean, I'm going to play the game. Let's go with the big takeaway.
Okay. All right. Good.
I did learn something today. Just because something has worked for 16 years. If it happened once, it could happen again. So I am already in my brain actively thinking about some relocation of part of the wiring harness. It is in a susceptible spot. I've never been rear-ended the way I was, but again, if it can happen once, it can happen again. Man. So we'll spend the 2 weeks to try to figure out how to keep the machine even more safe. DNFs for us are very uncharacteristic. Yep. So shout out to Mark Notman. He's the best in the business, and he does a phenomenal job. And you know what, things happen. So my big takeaway is I did learn something.
I'm going next, Johnny. My big takeaway is it's pretty clear I'm not a professional athlete, because I thought there was nothing that he could possibly, Walker Fowler, take away from today. And he was like, I learned something, Mikey, shut up. So I'm going to stay in my lane and just keep announcing races. And Walker, you please continue to race them. But no, that's very cool. And then, and all jokes aside, I think Hunter Hart, still worthy. I think that's probably the takeaway today. We've been very hard on him the last couple of years, as he has himself. We've talked about that till we're blue in the face. Forget about it. The man got a win today, his 5th of his career, and he showed that he can compete with Bryson Neal if he has that opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think my big takeaways from today.
Multiple.
Tough conditions leading to some very crazy racing action out there. Obviously, so many riders up in the mix throughout the race, but Hunter Hart back in a big way with a win. That's going to do wonders for his confidence. Bryson Neal, just doing what Bryson does, and even on what could have been a bad day, he maximizes his points, gets 25 points, and further extends his lead. Josh Merritt back on the box, on a race that really was a standout performance for him of his entire career last year, and leading much of this race. So I think those 3 guys kind of stand out. Jared McClure, great ride. Obviously, Chris Borich, great ride. And I think my last and final takeaway, not just because he's standing next to me, you guys got to hear Walker mumble through the whole, I don't know how much of this is left kind of a thing. And then in the span of 20 minutes, you heard, I learned something. We're going to get this fixed. So maybe sooner than later we'll see that win tally of 78 go up a few more. You're not allowed to talk. It's my turn. But that's one of my takeaways. You can take the championship. You can take the champion out of the fight temporarily, but you can never take the fight out of a champion. And I think we'll see more of that in the future.
Anything? Nothing?
No,
you can talk. I'll let you talk now. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. You're fine.
Hats off. It was awesome. Sucks for me today, but that's part of it. I've had an awesome racing career, and this very rarely happens. And I'm healthy. Usually
Good.
I'm in
Yeah,
here
there
because
you
I'm
go.
hurt. So I'm
That's a
healthy,
good point.
and I got to watch a really good race today and watch the boys go do the thing.
Heck yeah.
Well, and we thank you for coming in, Walker. It
Yeah,
would have been
thank you,
obvious,
dude, for sure.
Obviously easy just to sulk in your trailer, but we appreciate you coming in and giving us some insight. We've got more racing action coming up, Mikey.
Yes, we do. Tomorrow we'll be back here at Powerline Park for the Pro Bike race, and then we head up to Indiana for the Hoosier. And then, of course, we've got the Bagger Racing League, round number 3 in Hastings. That's coming up on the 24th of May. So that is going to wrap things up for us here today. Want to thank you guys for watching, and on behalf of Jackson Burrell, Zach Aaron, Johnny Gallagher, our camera operators, Matt, Mike, Josh, Adam, John. Big welcome back to John, by the way. Kirsten and Mike Nichols, our drone pilot, Gabe Scholl, who had to fill in on a camera today, our engineer filmer Brian Risch, our manager Dan Reinhart, our spotter Hollywood, second engineer Jack Renner, our engineer in charge Jordan McFadden, our replay operator Cam Cotter, director Don Hampton, producer Adam Gordon, and our executive producer Carrie Jo Russell. I'm Mikey Waynes, and you've been watching GNCC on RacerTV.com.